right, welcome back to the party, everybody. This is Morty, and I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Everybody hit that like and subscribe. You know I would do it for you. And let's party. Big shout out to the replay gang. Thank you so much for coming back to watch this, even though you missed the live party. Guys, that is the best part. So make sure you are here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes whenever I feel like it. I was just live yesterday. So make sure you hit that subscribe, ring the bell, and you will never miss an Indian Jesus live party ever again. If you'd like to support the channel, head on over to theindianjesus.com for your very own official merch. Valentine's Day is coming up. Get her a card only at theindianjesus.com. Guys, we do also have a Discord server that is absolutely free to join. 24/7, we are in there hanging out, having interesting conversations. We got one going on right now. I'm trying to balance. It is a good time. And like I said, it's absolutely free to join. I should pin the link, but I haven't done it yet. I will do it in a second. However, guys, like I said, absolutely free to join. But if you are a member of this channel here on YouTube, you can scroll right below the, look at Morty getting a treat there. Join button right below the video here. There's a few different tiers you can sign up at, but it starts at just $2.99 a month. Comes with members only live streams and all that other good stuff. But it actually opens up the full Discord server. So of course there is the free chat, but we also have an after party channel where as soon as we are done here on YouTube, we head over there. We don't got to worry about any of their censors, and you are not stuck behind your keyboard. You're actually on screen with me and everybody else. It is a good time. Definitely come and join us. And speaking of joining us, we got my co-host Morty. Oh, welcome to the party. And of course, guys, every donation comes with a treat for Morty, as you saw in the clip before. All right, welcome. Who we got here? We got our boy King Nirvana in the building. Welcome. We got Pizzard of Waz. Welcome back. Always excited to see people coming back. Very good to see you guys. So, the woke right, the definitive final word. Maybe not. I don't know. But there's been, for a while now, at least a few months, 6 months or so. It's been longer than that, but over the last 6 months, this discussion of what is the woke right, who is the woke right, all that kind of stuff has been bubbling up. And at the helm, really, were Dave Smith on one side and James Lindsay on the other, and they both had different definitions of who is on the woke right and why they use the term woke for that. So we already went over, and James Lindsay was a little beta and decided that he wouldn't debate Dave Smith. So unfortunately, we don't have that. But they did both go on to the Grift Report with Hotep Jesus to give their perspective opinions. We already covered the James Lindsay one. So if you haven't seen that, definitely go check that out. But tonight we are going to finish that up and come with Dave Smith's essentially the same topic. And I personally agree more with Dave. But if you guys don't, I would love to hear your opinions. As always, guys, if you can't hear the video, please do let me know.
It's good to be back, man. Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, I wish it could have been under better circumstances and more positive things to talk about.
Man, you're the biggest Dave Smith fan I know.
But we're right in the middle of a transitional period. A very deep transitional period.
This was about...
with a new leader taking power.
Yeah, this was about a month ago. So this was December 18th.
DJT. We're leaving the old man behind that.
Yerp.
Well, he can't do much. And we're going back to the MAGA regime. Tonight we're talking about woke right. Now, last time I was on this channel with a special guest, I had on one of your besties, James Lindsay. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about the contentions with James Lindsay. I put James Lindsay through the woke right test. And after further review, I think he failed. But I liked him. I gave him his...
He had some interesting points, but he ultimately did not come down with, this is why woke right is an appropriate title for this group of people. Or if you are looking to see if somebody's on the woke right, they will do this, and that. He just didn't provide that. And so he has his ideas of what the woke right is, but I don't know if that is an idea that can spread. And, oh, really quick, guys, check out what I got right here fresh bones for Morty. Check out that swole goal right at the top of the chat. $2 or more, and not only will Morty get a bone, I had to hide it over there because he's gonna think it's only for him, but we'll also do 10 swole stream push-ups together. We will bulk up together. Let's get healthy.
To further review, I think he failed, but I liked him. You know, I gave him his third strike after further review, but he's not extreme woke right. We'll be putting you through the same test as well tonight to see if you're the woke right. But this tweet popped up on my timeline, which led to this conversation.
I hope he's going to go back through the original one, because when he had James on, we were talking about the tweets, but he didn't actually go through them.
Said the bottom line is that the term woke right makes perfect sense when applied to pro-Israel right-wingers.
So Dave's saying pro-Israel right-wingers.
The parallels are obvious. The term makes no sense when applied to America First non-interventionists. It's embarrassing to see people twist themselves into pretzels defending this accusation. Let's debate this. It's an important topic, especially right now. James Lindsay won't defend his garbage analysis, so who will? Now, when I saw this, I was like, oh, damn, shots is fired. I think I gave James Lindsay.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. So they had, I don't know what he's got on, some little ding. I assume it's some, a subscription or something. He turns it off in a few seconds. He's just talking now. That will stop if you bear with me.
Third strike for not taking the debate with you. I think that's what the third strike was. I was like, that's what makes him woke right. Do you want to respond to that? Look like he's about to say something.
Well, I mean, I should just say things got kind of nasty in the back and forth between me and James, but I don't really hate the guy or anything like that.
Volume's good, right, guys?
He took offense to something I said when I was on Tucker Carlson last time. That wasn't about him at all, but he kind of took offense. And then I don't remember why he started with me this last time, but I am very quick to kind of just give it back on Twitter. You know, it's
what
Twitter.
Did he
say? Did he say it's Twitter? Yeah, it's Twitter. That's what it's there for.
Last time, but I am very quick to kind of just give it back on Twitter. You know, it's
what
Twitter.
So
if someone comes at you, you kind of come back at them. You know, I don't actually remember exactly.
Oh, he's not gonna bring it back
it
up.
Was, but
if somebody can get me the original thread on Twitter from between James and Dave, that would be amazing. If you're a mod, you can drop it in the chat. If not, join the free Discord and you can drop whatever you like. Shout out to Dylan Soup. Welcome to the party, sir. Very good to see you. We are trying to finally figure out who is right about the woke right, Dave or James Lindsay. And I'm kind of sticking with Dave.
Come back at them. You know, I don't actually remember exactly what
it
was, but I will say that if I'm just being honest,
that's his what does that sound? I promise I'm going to fix it. If anybody's watching the Indian Jesus, please don't leave. I will fix it.
Yeah, I watched the first half hour of him on your show.
Okay.
And it's just his reasoning, I think, is all over the place and kind of sloppy and doesn't really make any sense. It's just I think the argument is very sloppy. He was sitting there when he starts discussing the woke right, he kind of starts getting into these vague characteristics that could describe any political movement. They're mean. They're not, they're not well behaved. Okay, I mean, I get called gay on Twitter all the time. What? It's how is this even relevant? What? We all get that. That's what Twitter is.
Right. And so James Lindsay seems to have an idea of who is woke, but not why are they woke. And when you talk about it like that, it just seems like you're saying anybody that I don't like is woke, which is pretty woke.
Every single group does that, and there's all these kind of I don't know, these things that I've heard him argue on other shows where it's well, they have a belief around identity. You're yeah, that describes every group of political actors. That's not what anyone thinks of when they think of woke. However, and this is what I've been saying for quite a while.
Yeah, and not only not only the identity aspect, but the identity of something with immutable characteristics. That is the big part of wokeness on either side to me. If you're focusing your policy and the way you treat people based on immutable characteristics, that is woke.
Thinks of when they think of woke. However,
I promise, guys, but maybe 2 more dings. I promise. Stick with me.
This is what I've been saying for quite a while now. the group of, say, like the Ben Shapiro right wingers, or
Oh
whatever you
man,
want to
here
call
we
them.
go. Okay.
Well,
naming names,
the parallels are
baby.
just obvious. I mean, they spend their entire careers railing against these snowflakes on college campuses, and then as soon as the topic is Israel, it's the exact same tactics. All of what everybody, when normal people say the word woke, what they're thinking of is the exact same thing. They call you a bigot as soon as you make any point. Doesn't matter what you say. It's just, if it's not in there, if it's critical of Israel, you're a bigot. I mean, the example.
So that's the first thing there. Anything that you say, they accuse you of being a bigot. Sounds pretty woke to me.
Are all over the place. Thomas Massey said that America's broke. We're $35 trillion in debt. We can't afford to pay for other countries' wars. And John Podhoretz called him anti-Semitic filth for saying that.
Sounds pretty woke. It's not on the left. So maybe the woke right.
For making an argument that we're broke, we can't pay for that. So like all over the place, you get the conversation gets shut down with accusations of bigotry if you ever bring anything up. I think you know this personally.
I don't know nothing about this. I don't know what you're talking about.
I must be confusing you.
Plead the
I'm confusing you with somebody else. I'm sorry. My mistake. But so it's like there's that. Then they actually have it like, and they, in many instances have used the power of government, laws cracking down on speech in several different states because there's an unsafe environment on college campuses. You see chants are violence now. It's like there's just these obvious.
So the caption said chants, but CHANTS. Chants are violence now.
Campuses, you see chants are violence now. It's like there's just these obvious.
That's a pretty good band name. Chants our violence. I like that.
Parallels. And so at the same time, while this is going on, so I was labeling people woke right. I mean, it's kind of in my
before it was cool
circles, like it's always been a running thing. That's what we make fun of these kind of like these right-wing Zionists for, is that they're the woke on Israel. They're social justice warriors when it comes to any policy related to Israel. I remember Ben Shapiro in 2012 called Ron Paul a Jew hater. That's just like what they used to say. Ron Paul, who's never said a word about the Jews ever, is aside from what Thomas Massey said, maybe that we shouldn't be funding Israel, but he doesn't want to fund anything. But so I just think
me neither.
Like I don't know. It's right there. They're literally telling you that there's the words are violence. People ought to be canceled for not having the approved opinion. You're called a bigot as soon as you have a different view than them. So while there's this one group where the pop label of what people think of woke just completely applies, and then you have James Lindsay, and I think Konstantin Kassin also were like talking about, and
that's the guy from the Trigonometry podcast who also has a it seems like his own idea. It doesn't seem like he fits into the Dave Smith camp of woke right or the James Lindsay camp of what is woke right. Seems like he kind of has a hybrid, but he is definitely more on the side of James Lindsay when it comes to what is the woke right.
What they do is not only are they these vague definitions of what makes this wing of the right wing right, but it's a constant moving target where they go like, oh, like Tucker Carlson, and like I know between the two of them they've named Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, my buddy Daryl Cooper, I should say I'm friends with all of them, but which is probably why I kind of took this thing a little bit personally. But
you know, let's just take Tucker and Candace. Like whatever it is that you're trying to say you don't like about Tucker Carlson, I don't see how that is in the same category as why you wouldn't like Candace Owens. Like I could get if you think they're just both bad, but if you're saying that, you know, it's not their actual politics, or it's not their actual, you know, like it's not that they're voting wrong, but it's the way they approach these things. What is the through line? What is the through line between what Tucker does and what Candace does that we could say, oh, that is wokeness? And I don't think there's there.
But which is probably why I kind of took this thing a little bit personally, but these guys, so they name them, they go, they're the woke right.
Alone.
And then when you pin James down and ask him to explain what the woke right is, he starts going into like the Jew haters online or the,
which I agree with. I think the you know, just blanket Jew hating is woke, but as Dave is about to explain, that's too simple. Like you can't say somebody is woke if they're a Jew hater, and also, but separately, this person is not a Jew hater, but they're woke because they have this bad idea. Don't work like that.
woke right is, he starts going into like the Jew haters online or the Christian nationalists or like these other groups, and you're like, yeah, but that's not like, these are different groups, man, and you just smeared them, and now you're like trying to hit these guys over here, and it's just I don't know. It seems
that don't make no sense.
Whatever. I don't really care about fighting over this term. I'm just pointing out the obvious hypocrisy among so many of these like Israel supporting Republicans.
Well, that's a good point too. With the running poll, is the woke right an issue? And so it's interesting. I framed it in such a way where if you're familiar with what the woke right is, then you could say yes or no, the woke right is not an issue. But if you're not as familiar, then you might think the idea of defining what the woke right is or isn't might not be a big deal. Seems like half of you don't even know what the hell that is, but we are getting into it. And shout out to Guam. I missed that. Wait, let's try it again. Shout out to Guam Tech. There we go. Welcome. Said woke is anyone who actively and consistently chooses to allow words to harm them. Okay, I like that. That's definitely a factor. I don't know if I would say that's the defining factor, but definitely true. Welcome. Always good to see you, buddy.
Hypocrisy among so many of these like Israel supporting Republicans, but like it's just like the term fits in this way. It doesn't make any sense and isn't useful at all in the way that I think James and Konstantin are trying to use it. And also, it does seem to me that, it always, this label, the characteristic that all the people have in common who they're calling woke right seems to be that they don't support the war in Ukraine and they don't support the war in Gaza. That seems to be every right.
And so just like the woke left, it's not about the things that you're doing. It's not a logical thing. It's you are bad because of the things that you think. And I'm going to work backwards from there. And woke is something that the right hates. So you're that.
What?
That's not how words work, bro. But nice semantic obfuscation. Shout out to Indyville. Welcome to the party. Sticks and stones may break your bones, but words can never hurt you. Well said. Welcome to the party, sir.
Don't support the war in Ukraine and they don't support the war in Gaza. That seems to be every right-winger who doesn't fall into one of those categories seems to be the ones who are getting labeled like, oh, they're woke. They're just like the leftists. And I think that's bullshit.
Well, I want to come back to that point, but real
well said.
Fast. Outside of the Zionists and the pro-Israel people, is there another group of people or any other way that we can apply this term woke right to people?
Yes. And again, the same way we can apply it on the left, all of those things that Dave just listed about, calling you a bigot and moving goalposts and all that kind of stuff. It's a semantic and rhetorical tactic when they use it, as opposed to a word that we understand, maybe not strictly as a dictionary definition, but when we talk about left and right or liberal and conservative, like we have a general idea of what people mean when we say that. And so absolutely, I think it applies to if you I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I'm sure Dave will give us an example.
Or for you, is it just the pro-Israel? The Justice Zionists fall into that category.
Well, the reason why I just enjoy pointing that out is because I just think there are guys, again, like who
most obvious,
and everybody kind of knows the people I'm talking about, but who made their bones. In many cases, they made millions and millions of dollars off of like going into college campuses and just like like destroying 19-year-olds for behaving like fucking 7-year-olds. And being like, what's wrong?
Max over feelings.
Wrong with you? Like, you can't just scream words at people. You can't just like not listen to what the other person is saying. You can't like say you're 20 and you need a safe space or trigger warnings. Like, grow the fuck up and all that, And then it's like, I mean, look here, take this as an example, okay? And just like, I don't know why we can't be real with these conversations, but okay,
let's get real, Dave.
Famous clip of Ben Shapiro where he's reading off, he's like arguing with those black lefty professors or whatever, and he just starts reading off like the black like crime statistics and illegitimacy rates in the black community and criminality in the black community and all this, and he's Ben Shapiro, so he's rattling them off. Well, you explain to me why blacks are 50% of the and 70% of the and he's just take the gloves off. Hey, here's some harsh medicine, Black community. And these are the stats. And by the way, I'm not saying I'm against that. Like, I don't know. Sometimes it's okay to take the gloves off and give some harsh medicine. And hey, if you want to counter his argument, whatever. But
I agree. I think I used to have this. I guess it was more a left wing, not necessarily left wing, but the people in those audiences. Why are you arguing with college students? And I kind of bought onto that. Like, yeah, isn't that kind of low hanging fruit? That's kind of cheap. It's a cheap shot to go to these colleges where we know it's so bad. But through this last election where Charlie Kirk was doing a huge campus tour, he brought on a bunch of people. He brought Vivek, he brought Tulsi, all these kind of people. And somebody, multiple people were asking him that. But he made the point that, like, well, hey, I didn't go to college. So if you went to college, if you're in college now learning this right now, then shouldn't you know this more than I do? Which, again, is not necessarily fair. But as a rhetorical tactic, that definitely makes sense. Like, yeah, you're the one studying it. He didn't even graduate. He didn't even go to college.
Sometimes it's okay to take the gloves off and give some harsh medicine. And hey, if you want to counter his argument, whatever. But imagine anyone did that with Jews. Like, just imagine the reaction that Ben Shapiro would have over that. And
just in case you are not familiar, Dave Smith is a Jewish person who is pretty strongly against, a lot of the actions of Israel.
Can you not look at that and just go, that type of blatant hypocrisy? Like, you just can't have both, man.
The hypocrisy. That's another aspect of this. Is like the lack of principles. It's just the ideas that you want. And if there's a conflict, it doesn't matter. You're racist. Anyone said, if it's unfair to pick on college students because they're not smart, should they actually be voting?
Bingo.
Exactly. And that's why I had it shifted my perspective on that. And I think it's very important to, at that level, before, maybe not before, but before, during, and while they're getting indoctrinated, they get, a piece of the outside world. Because, going back to that fruitcake Anirudh that called me a bioterrorist, he still 4 years later is just a head in a book, has never had a real job, has never had anything to do in the world but what his teacher told him to do. Finish your homework, do your paper, that's it.
So that type of blatant hypocrisy, like, you just can't have both, man. This is too, like, and so I know it's kind of popular to, of course, just like always kind of trash, like, oh, the Groypers are out there and they say dumb, the fans say dumb shit on Twitter. It's like, yeah, okay, it's true. But then there's these far more powerful forces that are so, like, they're so hypocritical. So anyway, my point of using the term woke is just to point out to guys like that, like, you had no principles the whole time. You were a hypocrite. You don't really believe that. You were just attacking an out group. But when it comes to your group, then it's a whole different thing. Or when it comes to, in many cases, they're not Jewish people. They're just people who, you know what I mean? Like, for whatever reason, react that way to criticism of Israel. So that's the purpose of using that term for me, was always just to point out that, like, you guys become everything you claim to hate. I remember watching Ron DeSantis after he made his whole, like, thing off. I'm the guy who will take on the woke and no more teaching third graders about trans and all this shit. And then, and this is way before October 7th. This is before this current round of the war. He was asked about, like, anti-Semitism on college campuses, and he starts going off about how he'll be the harshest on it, and he'll make sure people are kicked out of schools, and he'll make sure there are consequences. And it's like, wait, for
Ben Shapiro?
Because some and it's the same as the shit.
You're talking about Ben Shapiro? That's wild. That's why. I mean, I definitely believe it. Taco Baco said Charlie Kirk, who spends his life obsessing with woke, expects individual students to know every chudskri. I have no idea what that means. What are you even asking? The point was, if you're, exactly as any film said, if you are in college, actively learning about these things, actively protesting things, then you should be able to articulate why that is. And if you can't even do that to some guy who didn't even go to college, then one, what are you doing in college? And two, why should you be voting?
Shit on the left, right? Once you kind of start doing that shit, once you start politicizing and weaponizing claims of bigotry, it creates like an industry for those claims, you know? And then there's like just more and more people making the claims. And then they make the claims in situations where it doesn't even apply at all, you know? And then pretty soon it becomes like,
it's a vicious, it's a vicious cycle.
oh, anybody who's like, if anyone is protesting Israel's war, then, you know what I mean? They must hate Jews. They're all anti-Semitic. They should all be punished, which, by the way, around the country, a whole bunch of them have been like pretty severely punished, kicked out of schools, kicked out of clubs, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, it seems pretty woke to me.
I said shit. Me too.
Oh, I just want to say, I did get a chance to read James Lindsay's essay on the woke right. I thought it was fantastically written. I thought he identified the group well. I know you probably saw something different in my interview with him, but I thought he identified it well, right? So let's kind of go to the identification.
And again, if you guys didn't see my coverage of when James Lindsay was here talking to Hotep Jesus, if you just search Indian Jesus woke right, you will definitely find it.
Of woke right, right? And I think really what it is, it's just the term woke applied to a certain political side, right? So if it's woke, it could be woke right, it could be woke Hotep, it could be woke whatever, right? Woke libertarian, right? It's just the term.
Yeah. Shout out to Chase Oliver.
Oh, there are definitely woke libertarians, for sure.
Oh shit, here we go. Things couldn't get any fucking worse. So, you know, when we think about the
never, ever, 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 ever think that things can't get worse. Really quick, guys, if I can ask you a huge favor and hit that like button, helps out so very, very much, and it's free.
Well, right. I think you've identified something that was perfectly said. You said these people have no principles. And to me, that's what I started to notice from amongst many of these people in the woke right. They have no principles, right?
And I think that is why it's a little bit difficult to find other areas where this manifests, because it's a newer thing that people are talking about. And since wokeness itself being the wokeness 1.0, since we kind of moved on from that, there hasn't been too many big cultural issues, which is why I think it's very specific to Ukraine and Israel, and specifically Israel.
Now, I see you as a principled guy. You've been standing on your square. You haven't moved much, right? However, I think we got to come up with a term for you, a new term. What's the equivalent of a Jew coon? Because you're Jewish. You're Jewish.
I am so glad I stopped to tell you that.
But you're anti-Semitic, so you're like a Jew coon. They call you a self. What is a Jew coon? Or we just call it a Jew?
Oh, did he say June?
Coon.
No, I like June. I like June.
A Jew coon. They call you a self. What is a Jew coon? Or we just call it a Jew coon?
There you go. Great minds think alike. Hell yes. Shout out to Zippy, DSM Lee. Welcome to the party. Said woke right be crazy. Old boss meet new boss. Same as any horrible boss. You got it. You got it. Welcome. Always a pleasure to see you, buddy.
Jew coon. They call you a self. What is a Jew coon? Or we just call it a Jew coon?
Oh man, I don't know. It's also hilarious and ridiculous, man. But I mean, you can't do this. Well, I mean, I'm a Putin propagandist, and I'm like, I'm a Hamas lover, evidently, and also like a self-hating Jew.
Yeah, cool. And that doesn't roll off the tongue as easily.
It's a lot to have all of that going on, but it's but this is always, and this is why I think, I know you've read a lot of this stuff too, but this is where I always really do think that I benefited a lot from reading really good like libertarian literature. Mm-hmm. Is that there is something about like, and it's not like to be individualistic in some like human beings
what
are atomized creatures.
Hey yo. Come on, man. We haven't not even been on here for 30 minutes. You coming out with this shit. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. I don't even remember what he just said.
In some like human beings are atomized creatures that only exist as individuals. Like obviously human beings are individuals who form into collectives and form communities and have, and have like, there's like, we're a social animal, but where you just recognize that we are individuals who make up groups, and then rulers like governments always try to create this illusion that like they are you and you are them. And
this is an interesting thing that he brought up recently on his own podcast when I believe it was right after Zuckerberg was on Rogan. And he was saying this thing, I think it's him. Forgive me if it's not actually Dave. I think it was Dave. Saying that he doesn't love this not super new, but this newer thing of the billionaires, the elite class, like dressing down and doing exactly what he's talking about with the politicians, trying to be like, oh, I'm just one of you. I'm just one of you. I'm down to earth. He's like, no, you're not.
To create this illusion that like they are you and you are them, and you know what I mean, like that's America, and that's, if somebody stormed the Capitol, that's America's house, you see, and that's like kind of, that's you, that is America. If you criticize the government, what do you hate America? You're down at, by the way, this was one of James Lindsay's critiques of what the woke right is. They're always blaming America. It's like, well, what does that even mean, blaming America? Like the criminals in DC, if I blame them, then I hate you know what I mean? Like, what is that?
Again, that don't make no sense. And I'll purposely use this one. Shout out to Zippy DSM Lee getting us started on that swole goal with the Rumble rant. Thank you, sir. Of course, every donation comes with a treat for Morty. Thank you. So even though on YouTube that it doesn't count, that counts to me. So at 9 more. $2 or more, and not only does Morty get one of these bones, but I am gonna get swole. Thank you so very, very much, sir. Would you prefer this one? I could keep this one. Actually, I gotta either way. Thank you so very much, and of course, that makes you the new sponsor of the stream. Very, very, very much appreciated, sir. Dietrich's in the building. Welcome to the party. Said, I'm woke every day. Then I get dressed and I'm eating. Wait, what? Let's try this again. I'm woke every day. Then I'm get dressed. Then I'm eat breakfast. Then I'm get on with my day worrying about actual important shit like me kids. Dilly to that. Sounds like a beautiful life. Sounds like a beautiful life. All right. Thank you. Let's dive right back in here.
Criminals in DC, if I blame them, then I hate you. You know what I mean? Like, what is that? And there's the same exact game is done by the Zionists with Israel. That it's like, except they extend that to all Jews around the world. So if you have any problem with anything Israel's doing, that must be because you're anti-Semitic. Or if you point out that like any Jews, like did something wrong, then that means you hate all Jews or something like that. But that's just like, it's stupid. That's not actually how human beings operate. At least I don't think in modern culture, I certainly don't think so. I don't think like most people are blaming like just some random Jewish guy who didn't do anything to anyone. And I don't think that most people, in the same way that I would say,
that's the part that doesn't make sense in like the like if you are one of these Jews, it's like, do you just mean Israel? Or do you mean like Bibi Netanyahu? Or do you actually mean some random schmuck who happens to, go to synagogue and celebrate Hanukkah? Like, what exactly do you mean? And a lot of them, it does seem like you're talking about anybody who's Jewish. And fair enough. I believe nothing except that anything is possible. So if you can make the argument to me that Joe Schmo or Joe Steinberg is part of some cabal, then I'll believe you. But that's a pretty big argument for you to have to make. Shout out to Box in the building. Welcome to the party. Very good to see you, sir.
Didn't do anything to anyone. And I don't think that most people, in the same way that I would say, like, if conservatives are like reading off something about black crime stats or something like that, I don't think that necessarily means they hate all black people, like I like, even if their argument might be flawed or missing something, I don't think that necessarily, it's like, and that's the problem with this, like these accusations of anti-Semitism or racism or all this shit. It's like, no one's ever like, what precisely do you mean by that? Like, what even do you mean when you say these things? Because I've heard the anti-Semitism thing gets applied to almost anybody who's critical of Israel or Israel's influence on America in any way.
It goes back to you're just saying things. Like, you say that this is that, and you say the Jews are doing this. You say, but what exactly do you actually mean? Break it down for me. I'm not trying to fight you. I'm just trying to understand. So if you have some deep-seated truth, I'm here for it. But you have to give that to me.
we're gonna have to break this down, but I just want to put a disclaimer out there. I love Jewish people. I love the Jews. I am I'm a Zionist. So I just want to make sure we get that out and declare I'm a Black Zionist. So shout out to the Holy Land. If you guys want to pay for my trip to come out there and leave a 5-star review on Yelp, hit me up. But anyway,
so that's why overwhelming majority of people voted against the party of wokeness. Okay, dude, continue thinking that. I'm sure you'll win next time.
America. This is where I started to say Dave might be woke right. So this is the first woke right test, Dave.
All right.
Before we get into the first woke right test, Bach says, I, for one, am happy that it's not yet illegal to hate the Jews. Not that I do, but I'm glad it's not illegal. Yeah, I mean, the right to the freedom of speech is so fundamental. And we need to be able to, it's not enough to make it illegal and people aren't saying it, because then they're still thinking it. And then if any of you watch, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, yeah. If any of you, what did I say? Anybody who watched content online, we all know what unaliving means and SA and DV. We all know what these things mean. It's shitty and annoying how to have to dance around your language, but like, we get it. Ask me in 6 months when the plan is actually done.
Right.
All right. Fair warning. So I hear.
Wait. I didn't actually read this. Voters cared more about eggs than trans. Bingo. You're absolutely fucking right. The ability to feed people is more important than the ability to chop off your dick. But no. We're all wrong and racist and bigoted, which is why you won?
And correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's some America First type stuff, right? But on the other side, you're like, but the state and America and the bureaucracy. So I'm like, how can one be as educated? Like you said, we both studied the.
I gotta give it dilly. Shout out to Box for the egg derangement syndrome. It's gonna go from one place to the other. To be said, woke is brain rot. Fake positivity that anyone can be anything but contrarian. Tolerance to the point of intolerance. Civility to the point of slavery, like the UK. Well said. Well fucking said. So they didn't fall out of the sky. It hit another thing in the sky, which didn't allow it to continue flying in the sky. So normally, metal needs some type of leverage on the air to be in the air. Okay, so if one thing is in the air because it goes like that, and the other one is takes off really fast and then glides through the air, then they hit the things that keep them in the air are no longer there. Stupid. Duh. But yeah. Whoa! Wait, you're telling me eggs are because of? Wait, what? You're telling me eggs are because of bird flu under Trump, but not because of post-COVID inflation under Biden? I did not even mention the bird flu. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, dude? Why are you so angry about everything? Like, chill. Just have the conversation. What do I always tell you guys? Stop trying to win an argument and just have the conversation. I'm here to talk. You don't have to try to throw these fucking bullshit in there. Just say the thing. And as we've discovered just yesterday, where you were here, if I hear something that forces me to change my mind, I will change my mind. It's not that complicated. You're the one getting your panties in a bunch because I don't immediately agree with everything that you say. And I'm sorry, but you're wrong. Yes, being able to feed people is more important than being able to trans them. And that is why you lost. Buck said, I watch a lot of lefty shows and eggs keep coming up. You got to give it time for more chickens to be born. I don't think it's exactly like that, but it's just a misunderstanding of prices go up so that there's competition and then all the prices go down. And simultaneously, we have more money to be able to afford those things. But again, number up, so number bad, number down, number good. You were fucking behind Kamala Harris talking about price gouging as if that was the fucking issue. Yikes. Guanzek said, bro, they called over 100 million chickens. Wait, I meant to hit the. What? So that is a real. Okay. I see. I didn't even know that. And still, you're so bad. You're so bad at understanding what the fuck is going on. So let's actually let's take a little look. Chickens cold bird flu. We'll go to the University of Nebraska something. What was it? So nearly. Yeah. Nearly 1.8 million chickens will be culled in the latest bird flu outbreak at a Colorado poultry farm as of July 10th. Oh, wait. Who was the president in July of 2024? Colorado Sun, nearly 1.8 million chickens will be killed after bird flu was detected at an egg-laying operation in Weld County, a major resurgence on a commercial farm of the disease that has already seen more than 6 million birds culled. Governor Jared Polis verbally declared a disaster declaration for the facility over a long holiday weekend. The move activates a state's emergency operations plan and makes additional resources available to respond and so on and so forth. Well, it's right here, right? Is that the end? Okay. Let's just finish it up then. Spokesman, did I read this? Yeah. So a spokesman from the Colorado Department of Agriculture declined to name the facility. The mass culling or depopulation, as the state described it, is the second largest in a commercial flock since bird flu was first detected. So even taking tariffs and income tax out of the equation, you're still stupid. Oh, man, that is embarrassing. You knew about that. I didn't even know about that, and you're still wrong. Oof. Where were we? Okay, dude. Yep. You know exactly what's going on. Oh my goodness. Bucks. So we ran out of perfectly stocked toilet paper. We are doing it with eggs now too. If you see them for cheap, you might buy 2 or 3 instead of the one you normally would. I had no idea. I'd heard that. I didn't realize that it was a current thing. I was just assuming we were talking about the tariffs. That's what I thought, which again wouldn't have anything to do with American or domestic product anyway. But again, one of those a thing where it didn't matter. Same here. Didn't even know, and somehow I'm still right. Oh, are you really doing this? 1% popular vote, overwhelming majority. I didn't say overwhelming. I said the majority. Didn't I say even? Well, either way, still way more than people who agree with you. But less than the past 2 Democratic president. The real votes, yes. But what's real? Everyone's doesn't give a shit about trans or gay, but was flipping out over their gas prices. Exactly. That's the fucking point. Gas prices and eggs are a reflection of people living day to day. And you saying, no, that's not as important. Which is exactly the idea here. You're the one obsessed with this shit. Notice how over the last year, it's kind of not really been a thing. Because y'all stop fucking shoving it down people's throats. Try it again. Just try it with one more thing. Try it with the racist stuff. Just try it. Just try to stop calling everything racist. And then, we'll see how that goes.
So I'm like, how can one be as educated? Like you said, we both studied the Mises.org books.
I don't know why you're tying the plane crashes to anything woke. You're the one who strawman that. What does the plane crash have anything to do with woke? You're just pulling shit out of your ass, bro.
can one be as educated, like you said, we both studied the Mises.org books, ad nauseum, right? So we understand about the state, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm wondering, how can you understand the concept
Representative heuristic, right?
of the state, but at the same time, have an America first stance? That's what's confusing for me.
Correct. If you there's no differentiation when you type words to me versus when you type words to somebody else. So you might want to signify, because you're not the only person here.
Well, I mean, because look, like the whole
side quest over.
The worst probably like political philosophy that's gotten its way into American statism has been this policeman of the world mentality, and the idea that we somehow, as Woodrow Wilson said, that we're here to spread democracy around the world, and the idea that any government could take on that role, which is, I mean, if stated honestly, is we want to be the world empire.
And what were we just talking about when we were watching Tucker and Piers Morgan? That Piers Morgan kept coming. So you're going to let Russia do this, that, and the other? You're going to let Putin do this? Who the fuck do you think Tucker Carlson is? That he has the power to do anything about what fucking Putin wants to do? We're not the world police. Quantek said, gee, it wasn't a lot of planes having major malfunctions last year and proven that the standards to hire pilots were lowered. It's almost like there's something called cause and effect. I don't even necessarily believe that it's like accidents happen. DEI is terrible and horrible, but accidents happen. Unless we see something where somebody has been hired and was in a position, I'm not going to jump on that. That's a silly that's a silly thing until you have a reason to say it. So I'm not even gonna. I mean, maybe that's the case. I don't know. But again, I don't need it to be some DEI woke thing in order for it to be something that's not good. Like planes are supposed to stay in the air. Reading comprehension.
Because, of course, obviously that level of power always corrupts.
Exactly. Like shit happens.
It was probably never even had good intentions in the beginning, but certainly American foreign policy is not about democracy promotion. Even the people who screamed the loudest that it was will overthrow democratically elected governments in a second if they're not, playing ball with us. So
shout out to Richard Hardy. Welcome to the party. So I had to completely give up on the Libertarian Party after their 2024 presidential candidate choice. It really told me who the modern Libertarian Party really is. Bingo. And it's so sad because, well, I mean, sad for us. It's so sad. It doesn't really matter. Trump was going to win anyway. But the fact that it could have been him. He had, his I think he had twins, right? Or did he just have a son? I don't know. But he had kids and there was complications and he just wasn't up to it. But totally fair. But imagine if he was the Libertarian candidate. And I personally would have voted for him. But not to think that he was actually going to win anything. But the types of demands that the Libertarian Party itself was able to get from Trump, even with Chase Oliver, was pretty good. So I mean, the Libertarian Party is always rife with issues. That's the nature of libertarianism. But I think the ideology is something important that we should separate from the actual party. Welcome to the party, brother. Quantek said, everything's Trump's fault. Nothing bad ever happened before Trump. Trump bad. No. Bad, man. Yup. Quantek said, just so happened the pilot of the helicopter was a woman and the military tried to cover it up. Why? Well, I mean, to play devil's advocate, because just her being a woman is enough for people to say, oh, it's woke, it's DEI. So that makes sense to me. That makes sense. It's like, oh, God, this bitch is probably awesome at her job, but because she's a woman, all the racist, misogynist, whatever, they're going to do this, that. And that's how they do it. So, I'm totally fine with just saying it was a fucking accident. It was a fucking accident. That's all. I don't know why it needs to be anything more than that. Box said, according to the FAA study, there are approximately 5 plane crashes a day. Damn. But yeah, those don't happen, right? Oh, Taco, you didn't understand what Box was saying. Guamtech said lefties are the pro-slave class. Well, that's coming out of left field, but hey, when you're right, you are right. Oh, again, shout out to Zippy DSM Lee with another Rumble rant saying fuck that YouTube censorship. I know, I hate it too, but that's where Rumble comes in. Thank you so very, very much, sir. Out sponsoring yourself. This is the epitome of solipsism. The epitome. There's 12 people, including myself, and you're just saying words, and I'm the one on screen, but it's clear to me because it's clear to you.
Stupid.
That is the most female thing you have ever said. It's Richard said they may as well have nominated Liberace. Well, and may would have gotten a little gold in the mix. You know how Trump loves gold.
Democratically elected.
Right, let's throw that back a little bit.
In the beginning, but certainly American foreign policy is not about democracy promotion. Even the people who screamed the loudest that it was will overthrow democratically elected governments in a second if they're not playing ball with us. So it's so
they're censoring Zippy, saying getting rid of illegals is racist. Who will pick our crops? Bring the slaves back. Oh no, eggs. There's nothing to do with that.
Second if they're not playing ball with us. So it's so the America First movement, I think in many ways was a response to the adventurism of the war on terrorism over the last 20 years. And it's like going like, hey, why are we going and fighting all of these wars that aren't in America's interest, that have just hurt our country? And so I to me, that's preferable certainly to the more interventionist streak of Republicans. And I'm sure there's lots of areas where, a lot of the times with this is like, well, putting America first, what would be to me like abolishing the Federal Reserve and abolishing the FBI and the ATF and all that would be America first. That'd be real great. So I don't know. I think policies that are good for America are in line with libertarianism, and I think that the instincts of America First, that we ought to not be spending trillions of dollars fighting stupid wars that kill hundreds of thousands of innocent people.
Yeah, but we have to, because we have to spread democracy, except in the places that actually need it, because that's just their culture.
But that's the American way. That's the American way.
Well, but that's
destroy, divide, conquer, kill. That's what the country was founded upon.
Well, sure, that's true, but it's also like, as is true with most people, and I think as is true with the United States of America, people aren't just one thing, and there are people, if you think in your own life, I guarantee you, it's true for me, and I'm sure it's true for you too, that there are some people in your life who just look at you like you're the greatest guy, like they just love that guy, whether your kids or your girl or your friends or whatever, they just love you. Yeah. And then there's somebody out there in the world somewhere who, if they brought up your name, they go, that guy is the biggest piece of shit. I fucking hate that guy. He did, and it might even be something you genuinely did wrong to someone, Right.
And it's all right here. With only 11 people.
So it's like when you say America, it's like, yeah, look, America's always had this kind of like these extraordinary achievements of greatness and advancement, and then also this kind of bloody backhand that's like doing all types of fucked up, horrible shit.
Well, wait. Can I pause you right there? What's the greatness?
So, okay, before they move on, Box is saying we keep spending money, we keep going into debt, but GDP keeps going up. Ever wonder how that happens? I'll give you a hint. It's war. I agree. Are you saying we should continue killing people so that our money goes up? Or are you just establishing that there is an interest in these wars? Because I don't think anybody is claiming that there's no benefit to America or Americans. I think the question is, at what cost? So that's, I don't want to put words in your mouth. Just say that's how it reads, but kind of like, exactly what Zippy was just saying. Like, getting rid of illegals is racist. Who will clean your toilet, Donald Trump? Yikes. Zippy said, not really. The U.S. was founded on egalitarian unity and self-made merit. They had to let slavery in because they had to make the country. War is profit, but at a huge cost. Bingo. Fewer wars, fewer costs. Yep. And I'm okay with having I'm okay with having a slightly less luxurious life if we're not killing people around the world. I know, crazy, but that's just me. So just one leg of the interest we have in it. Again, I agree. I'm just saying, exactly as we were saying, at what cost? At what cost? Nobody's saying there's no benefits.
It's like doing all types of fucked up, horrible shit.
Well, wait. Can I pause you right there? What's the greatness part?
Well, I do think that, look, just starting a country off of the document, the Declaration of Independence, and then adding the Bill of Rights to the Constitution ultimately later, whether that was, I'm not saying that was lived up to, but there's something powerful about the message of even starting with that. And I do think that that's part of the reason why we've been able to kind of like progress and develop is because of that kind of foundational starting point. I think that America was, there's a reason why we're the most powerful country in the history of the world, and we've been the dominant empire of the world since at least World War II. And in my opinion, it is because America had, at the time, the most restrained, most free market country in the world.
And everybody, the world reserve currency.
So there, like certainly economically, in terms of like medical advances and culture, there's just been like no force like the United States of America. It's like, truly magical shit that's happened. And
sure you do.
And I think that certainly, it's like there's always constantly this process, I feel like, of American culture kind of uniting the world, and then the American military going around and fucking that up completely and making everybody hate it.
No, we need a projection on that. Projection. Amazing. Did you work all day? I worked all day. I haven't been on, whatever. It's not even worth it. Yeah. Box here said the Bill of Rights is fucked. We had to add a whole bunch more rights after the fact. Founding fathers really fell off. I don't know about all of that, but I get the sarcasm. Zippy said, in my opinion, as tech and production of goods gets better, the cost of making goods is lowered, but prices go up. Because costs and prices and wages are all artificial, it's skewed upward to fake elite wealth. Interesting. So then how does that play out in the way that your normal average person looks at the market and says, okay, the economy is good or the economy is not good? How does this play into that? What do you think?
Uniting the world, and then the American military going around and fucking that up completely and making everybody hate us. Yeah. But like when the Soviet Union fell, like people really did. They wanted blue jeans and rock and roll music. They wanted to live like a free life and be like, oh, okay, I'm not under like this constant totalitarianism. And America, however real it ever was, and it always was to some degree real, but not completely, but America did become a symbol of freedom for a lot of people around the world. Okay. Unfortunately, we have a big corrupt evil government that constantly comes in and messes all that up.
Right.
Well said. Beautifully articulated. That the country, the values of the country, the culture of what the country is supposed to be is beautiful and great. But that doesn't mean it can't be corrupted, and that it's not currently corrupted. But that also doesn't mean that we can't uncorrupt it. Much harder than to go back than it is to drive it into the ground, but it's possible. And I personally am not willing to give up. And as long as you guys are here, you are my power.
Big corrupt evil government that constantly comes in and messes all that up.
Right. Okay. So let's get to the American interest part, right? Because I like to be an objectivist, right? I like to look at things objectively, not subjectively. I want to say, look, here's how America was established.
All right, let's dive into that first. But Box is saying partially to Zippy about all of this stuff, but fake elite wealth, that it's partially a byproduct of minimum wage. I think I may agree with you here. Can you say more on that? And Zippy is saying it's a bubble. It pops, but the elite still manages to get richer off the chaos. Look at the Depression. Every time the market busts, it centralizes harder. Very true. Yeah. No additional commentary. Well said. King said, I got friends and I touch grass. It would be funny if what I suspect my guy's reality is to be is so Sad. Yeah, that's what I have to tell people to make sure that they know that I have friends and I go outside. Context said, hang with friends equals keep repeating anti-Trump talking points in a mirror. God. Oh, you guys are in a fun mood today.
Things objectively, not subjectively. I want to say, look, here's how America was established. It's established off of kicking ass, okay? And my point is, like, why stop now? Like, there's this, we have Israel, which is our eyes, ears, and boot, in a foreign land. They got some oil. I love some free, some free oil.
Do you guys say, oh, wait, what? Do you guys say oil or all? We got 17 votes here. Let's, so is the woke right an issue? By a hair. Well, I mean, it's tied at 35, but the numbers don't add up there. So, I'm going to say by a hair, the answer is yes. So a little bit, simple and fun one. Do you say oil or do you say all?
Foreign land. They got some oil. I love some free, some free oil, some lower gas prices, drill, baby, drill, So, I'm black. So I know these motherfuckers over there like my ass any motherfucking way. They enslave black people in these countries, right? So if Donald Trump or Joe Biden want to put their foot in some Palestinian ass, I'm like, who am I to stop them? You know what I'm saying? And it's weird to me because if you're pro-America, like, these people don't like America. They don't like you. They don't like Americans. So it's just like, why should we stop America or Israel from kicking their ass?
Well, I mean, because look,
because it costs a lot of money and shit ain't good here.
Even if you're so if you get past the fact that there's like just a
so this is another iteration of the second option. Is it? Well, I mean, I guess we could just say one syllable or two. One syllable or two.
I mean, because look, even if you're so if you get past the fact that there's like just a ton of, women and children who are being slaughtered in all of these, wars, I think that it has greatly degraded this country that we've fought so many disastrous wars over the last 25 years. And it's cost the country trillions and trillions of dollars. I believe
it's all about the money. One sec, great point here. Nice little recap. Said woke is hypocritical and easily offended people. I'll add one more. Unwilling to break from the orthodoxy and easily manipulated. That's two. You got me. But yeah, well said. Hypocritical, easily offended, unwilling to break from the orthodoxy, and easily manipulated. Well said. Zibby said, in my opinion, minimum wage is used to kill smaller market competition, so it allows big business to centralize the market more and more, which creates a highly artificial market that's pro-market bust cycles. And again, I got this from directly parroting Dave Smith, saying that minimum wage is not a platform on which poor people stand. It is a barrier which they must overcome. If you are not worth $15 an hour, then you don't get to work with a minimum wage at that level. But if maybe your labor has a value of $5 an hour, well, now at least you could get in and start working somewhere, and then you can get another job at a better price, or you can get a raise and all of those things. Is it as simple as is it? It's not that simple, but it is a barrier, not a platform. Box said, I'm from Minnesota. I don't say like either of those. Well, how do you say it then? If it's not all or all, and it's not oil, because I was putting this in the same category as the all. Gonzag's adding overly reliant on emotion. Separately, not so bad, but together, Separately, not so bad, but together, we form Captain Dipshit. There we go. Quantex on fire tonight.
Over the last 25 years, and it's cost the country trillions and trillions of dollars. I believe it's $7 trillion total for all of the wars, something in that ballpark.
God damn.
It's an enormous cost to the American taxpayer has to carry these wars on their back one way or the other. Now, of course, as you know, I mean, like not everybody might understand this stuff, but you do. But that
it's called an enunciation. If you look up a word in a dictionary, they're not just going to put the word on the paper and just spell it. It's called the pronunciation. And you know exactly what the fuck I mean. You know exactly what the fuck I mean. Earl? That's whack. I don't know. Fuck Minnesota. No way. That ain't a thing. That ain't a thing. Yeah, okay, right. But I didn't have two options for one option, bro. Bog said, fun fact, the federal minimum wage for tipped employees is $2.13 an hour. And guess what? As a tipped employee, I made more money than I ever made in my life until I became a specialized worker and became a dog trainer. When I was working for minimum wage, I was broke as fuck. But when I got a job that paid me $2.13 an hour, I was balling. So as I said, it is a barrier, not a platform.
Of course, as you know, I mean, like not everybody might understand this stuff, but you do. But that even if they're not taxing the people directly for these wars, then they're printing the money to do it, and you're losing purchasing power. And so the American working people are paying for this shit one way or the other. They're carrying that burden on their back. And why is it exactly? I mean, look, Jeffrey Sachs, he's getting everyone pissed off at him right now because he said on Tucker Carlson's show that you know that we've outsourced our foreign policy to Israel. And you know, I mean, it's pissing a lot of people off, but the bottom line, I mean, listen, you could listen to Ben Shapiro just.
Oh yeah, right. You had the flu the other day, so maybe you're just like completely out of it, or maybe it's the completely out of it on meds, or maybe you're all better. Glad to hear it, brother. Glad to hear it.
Just the other day talking about Bashar al-Assad being overthrown, which has been an American operation there going back to 2011 to arm the anti-Assad rebels and create that civil war in the first place. And he's bragging. Why is it? Why is it that this is such a great thing that Al-Qaeda is now in control of Syria? And it's a great thing because you see it broke up the Shiite crescent. And so now Iran is going to have a tougher time getting weapons through Syria into Lebanon where they can deliver them to Hezbollah. And
well, that sounds good, right? Right?
You're just like, oh yeah, that sounds like a real win for the middle part of North America, right? That's definitely about us.
Oh, definitely. If we're like, yes, I agree. That sounds like a good thing, but in the context of America first, absolutely. That's the point. The middle part of North America, it doesn't really fucking matter. And when we have the ability to foster relationships and the benefits that Box was talking about, yes, we want to do that. But again, the question is at what cost? Let's go back because I thought he was saying something different.
Through Syria. And it's a great thing because you see it broke up the Shiite crescent. And so now Iran is going to have a tougher time getting weapons through Syria into Lebanon where they can deliver them to Hezbollah.
And so again, I think that is a good thing. But with the tag,
and you're just like, oh yeah, that sounds like a real win for the middle part of North America, right? That's definitely about us, right?
Very strong point there. Box said it would be a superpower to tell an employer you work for free for a set amount of time to get your foot in a job you really like. Minimum wage prevents that. Right. Exactly. So this is how people used to get jobs when they were younger and didn't have the skills. They would go in and get, they'd be an intern. They would get paid bullshit, but then they learn the trade. They learn what it is they're doing. And then either you can ask for more money from your boss, or now you have experience and you can go get a job that pays you more. No government needed.
Middle part of North America, right? That's definitely about us, right? I mean, look, man, you could go back if you, again, there's Benjamin.
Is this about the MMA guy? Is that the what? That's his name, right? Is that the joke? I think I get it.
I mean, look, man, you could go back if you. Again, there's Benjamin Netanyahu wrote a book about this back in the 90s. But you can read the if you want to understand the American neoconservative perspective of it, read a Clean Break. A new strategy for securing the realm. And it was the piece by David Wormser and Richard Pearl, and they wrote it to Benjamin Netanyahu, and it laid out the plan there. And the whole game was that the world had been insisting on a two-state solution for Israel and Palestine for so long, and Israel had agreed to it. And they had started this Oslo process. But the plan was to get away from the Oslo process, because the Oslo process said they had to start giving back territory to the Palestinians. And so the plan was, instead of doing that, instead of doing these land swaps, let's just remake the Middle East and overthrow all of Israel's enemies And then you won't have to make this land deal because there won't be all this pressure on you guys to make the fucking deal. And so Americans, look, man,
sounds like
to
a lot.
fight these wars that maybe are, I don't even think the scheme is correct. Like, I don't think that would work. I don't think it would help Israel. I think this is insane, all of this. But by the way, 4-star General Wesley Clark just confirmed recently the other day that he saw these plans in the 90s. So the famous quote that he talked about of toppling 7 governments in 5 years.
Somalia, Sudan, Egypt, Syria,
Libya,
Iran.
and Iran.
Yeah.
It's all going to plan.
Yeah. And he said the other day that 2001 wasn't actually the first time he saw that. He saw it back from Paul Wolfowitz in the early 90s.
Oh, early 90s.
In the early 90s.
Wow.
So way before 9/11, they just used all that as an excuse, to get all these wars. Right. But so from the American perspective, even if this plan that would, let's say there's some abstract reasoning that you could say, well, this plan, if it worked, would have helped Israel, and Israel would have been good for the United States of America or something like that. The fact is that we took, like, our boys died by the thousands in the war in Iraq and in the war in Afghanistan. We spent trillions of dollars doing that between those wars, and then like the dirty wars, in Libya, in Syria, in Somalia, in Yemen, where we backed the Saudis. All these wars, I mean, it's just trillions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of innocent people dying, our boys dying in the thousands, blowing their brains out by the tens of thousands when they get home.
Sounds like a huge benefit.
Who knows the number of how many of them are fucking just scarred for life and fucked up, not being taken care of, all that shit. And so, like, the costs are very real for this country. And so even if you don't like really care, you're like, why the fuck should I care that Donald Trump's kicking someone's ass over there or something like that? It's like, the more you get involved in this part of the world, the more conflicts there's going to be, the more wars you're going to end up being on the hook for. And they have, like, it's not a coincidence that we fought all these wars in the last 25 years. Every single one of them was a disaster. And the country has, like, had such a rough time during that same period. It's not
a coincidence. Not at all. Let's shout out our boy KFT with a new facade. Welcome. So shout out to Morty. Eat peanut butter and enjoy. And of course, we'll get a treat for Morty. That's right. We do have these bones right here. Morty will get one of those if we meet our swole goal. And we already have Zippy adding on Rumble. So let's get those super chats in. Not only will Morty get his bone, but we're going to get swole. Let's get healthy. Thank you. And welcome to the party, sir. Thank you for the likes, guys. Very much appreciated.
Had such a rough time during that same period.
I know.
It's not a coincidence,
Yeah, I mean, the only part I got is the money laundering. The support of the military-industrial complex and everybody wanting to make money. Halliburton, Raytheon, and all these guys, right? Make sure y'all go out and get those stocks.
Yeah, and then it's like the dynamic that there always is, right? So this is always what happens with the nature of the state, is that then they find intellectuals to justify a position where the state takes more power. So they find this guy. Oh, have you seen this guy Keynes? This guy Keynes says we got to raise spending and we got to forget. You know what I mean? It's like, no.
There's always a justification. The further you go into the academic and intellectualized argument of why this actually, you just don't get it. Yes, there's definitely a level, but in the same kind of, it's like a parabolic thing. Where if you don't understand, the more that you want to do, the stronger the reason has to be. And we get to a certain point where it's like, okay, we're taking on big tasks and we have big goals, but the likelihood of it happening is low and the cost is just huge. So let's not. King said it's cart tips. Oh, well, thank you, KFT. I wanted a tip about my cart. What color should I paint it?
You're just finding a guy who's giving you the answer you want. And so then, and the same thing happens with the warfare machine. I mean, you got these weapons companies fund think tanks that argue for more wars. You know what I mean? Like, it's such a racket, But then also a lot of those intellectuals end up becoming true believers and they really believe in this shit. And some of them really do.
We're going to have American casinos in Israel. Is that what we're talking about here?
Maybe I studied too much history, right? I went out, watched the Gladiator movie. That's good historical research, right?
Are you not entertained?
We have, Alexander the Gay. You got, all these different stories of expansions, Genghis Khan, and expansionism, right? So when I think about United States of America, first of all, I look at it as a peripheral nation of Western civilization. I don't view it as some separate nation. It's just expansionism, right? And Israel, as I know you know, was part of this Western civilization expansion. When you go look at the British mandate, the report from the British, right? When you read the report, there's no way you could read that report and say that they were working towards a two-state solution. And that was that was in the 40s and 50s.
Well, they had
and that's the big thing that, because if you guys remember, if you were here when October 7th happened, I took the opportunity instead of, because like I wanted to talk about it and cover it in a way, but I am by far not an expert on anything with the Middle East and foreign policy and like that. So I brought people on to be like, okay, well, I don't know what's going on. So why don't you give me your interpretation of what's happening? And there's two very pro-Israel people, and it made a lot of sense that, like, okay, Hamas is the terrorists, they're the bad guys, and Israel's the good guys. So we want the good guys to win. Doesn't quite play out like that, does it? And so again, going back to his point about how does that help North America, if these people don't want to win, they just want to fight, and then let them fight. Why do we need to be involved in that? I don't want to at all. No, thank you.
And that was that was in the 40s and 50s.
Well, they had, well, if you're talking about the Balfour Declaration, which was even way earlier, which was in I think 1917, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
But there was like a line in there that was like, you know, with respect to the rights of the local people or something like that. You know.
Oh my goodness! Shout out to Cody Brooks, aka the God Daddy. Welcome to the party, sir. Always a pleasure to see you. Said Dave Smith is the only politician I've ever felt like represented me until this war. No talk is productive anymore. It's a waste of time almost. I agree. So I don't spend much time listening to their debates. I agree. I mean, even the last debate, I don't know if it was the last one, but a debate he did with Dennis Prager and Laura Loomer was there. I was just like, I get it. You think, oh my God, it's a genocide. It's like, oh, but these people, I get it. I get the two sides, and exactly what Cody is saying. There's just nothing there. Everybody knows what everybody thinks. You're either on this side or you're on that side, and not being on this side or being on that side isn't going to stop anybody from fighting. I mean, absolutely. I still listen to Dave's podcast all the time, but the debate specifically, not a big deal to me. And so you guys know I'm going to DebateCon in a couple weeks, and I'm sure there's one, it's like religious, Saturday's a religious day and Sunday is the political day. And I'm expecting that when either, I don't know if Ukraine will come up, but I'm sure Israel will come up, and I'm going to use that time to get me some food, because it's just exactly what Cody is saying. It's a waste of time. Welcome. Always good to see you, sir. So he said, look at Europe. How many centuries did it take for them to fight it out? The Middle East is not allowed to fight it out and get tired of it. That's kind of, I mean, I don't want to say that's what I was thinking, because I wasn't, but I'm with Box there. Getting tired of it is nowhere in sight, at least seemingly. And so with that being the case, set an end goal. Let's do that end goal. If we, we are in a military alliance with Israel. If they have a plan to go and do some SEAL Team 6 type shit to take out all the members of Hamas, and they need U.S. backing to do that, that's a whole different story. But they don't want that. They really do just hate each other. That's it.
With respect to the rights of the local people or something like that, you know. But I think there's no question that to create a Jewish state on a land where a bunch of Arabs already lived was going to involve quite a bit of force in order to pull that off.
Yeah. Well, the document I was looking at was it's the British Mandate Report, and the British basically. Oh,
okay. So this is post World War II, and the British are running. Okay.
Right, exactly. They're not trying to just conquer each other. They're trying to figure out a way, or they were trying to figure out a way that they could just live. And so that's a different thing. This is not that. Israel is not that.
Had already conquered the Ottoman Empire. They're moving in. And when you read the report, you see investments coming from U.S. interests and British interests, and they're investing in the Israeli state. And it even includes some of the reports from some of the Arab leaders.
I love how Dave always seems like embarrassed that he's hitting his bait. Like, I'll just rip that shit. I'll be talking about coming out of my face. I don't know. I just find it funny.
And it even includes some of the reports from some of the Arab leaders who were saying things like, we didn't agree upon this and we didn't agree upon that. And the British were like, man, we don't give a shit. So I feel like from the establishment of the place, it was clear that there was not going to be a two-state solution, right? It was clear from when the British, French, United States had the secret treaty to divide up the Ottoman Empire behind the back of the Russians, right? So the plans, when I'm looking at today and I see people complaining about today, that's why I just classify them as woke right. Because I'm like, these plans been in the works since they daddy. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, where do we go from here? And
that also brings up what we were talking about. Either it was yesterday or the last show. I don't fucking remember. But the idea that my country has made promises to other countries way before I was here, way before my family was even part of the country. And now we are, I'm a birthright citizen. I was born here. My parents immigrated legally. So now we're all citizens. Why? There has to be some way that if we are assimilated into American culture, which I don't know shit about Indian stuff. I don't know a lot about Chinese. I'm fucking American. Then there has to be some way to be like, okay, like I know that your granddaddy's granddaddy made this this agreement, but it's not working. How do we update that? How do we update that? And I don't have an answer, but that is a strong question that I do have. Zippy said, so I saw a post on X and came to the realization that Western aid fattened up the third world with free money. Food and money equals population growth, to then import the third world to then become the third world. Not a smart move if you care about the people and you are not the elite, right? But again, we could see how that is a separation of interests. Fox said they both rock in their own death cult, a byproduct of believing in a sky daddy. The only way that that could all be going on is if you have a dogmatic belief in something that you cannot demonstrate or prove. Cannot happen otherwise. It cannot happen otherwise.
And daddy. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, where do we go from here? Like at
we
what
got
point do we
Wesley!
What I call the world liberal order and stop separating these things into Britain, United States, and Israel and just start saying this is one world liberal order. They got some plans, and where do we fit into it?
Well, Charles Krauthammer, who I believe was the one who coined the term the unipolar moment. Which, there's all these terms like what you call it. People call it the New World Order or the Liberal World Order or the post-war consensus or hegemony or what, like there's all these different terms, but they all really just mean American empire. And they all just mean kind of the dominance of what is now, like, I understand your point about the connection from European powers to American powers, but the central point is now in DC, like that's been true since the end of World
I don't
War
agree with
II.
that.
No, where do you think it is?
It ain't in DC.
I mean, I should say.
The way I divide it up is the world liberal order operates with the economic power residing in London, the military power residing in DC, and the spiritual power residing in Israel. And this is how it functions. But
yeah, no, I mean, I get your point. I guess I just mean that, like, the guns are coming from DC.
Yes, correct.
And
that's
where the guns are coming from is always kind of like the center of power in some fundamental way.
Very true. All right, I'm gonna look through some of these other chapters here. Let's see, because now they're going back to they're just talking about that stuff, and very interesting stuff. And the link to this is in the description. But we're here to talk about the woke right and figure it out once and for all.
This much explaining about what, you know what I mean? Like if I'm like, hey, I have this new pop political term that I'm going to call this segment of the right wing, and this requires you to read like a 3-page, essay on exactly how they, and everybody's disagreeing with you and going, this doesn't work, this doesn't describe. Then like, come on, it's not a useful term at that point. Like you're just, this isn't something that even like people have. So at least I would argue.
Yeah. So I know we cut out a lot there, but I'm pretty certain what he was saying is that James Lindsay is trying to come up with this usage for the term woke right, and he has a little essay on it, but it doesn't actually map onto reality. It's not a good term. I think the other way to look at it as woke is just wokeness, and it can be right wing or left wing. I think that just makes a lot more sense. So he said Israel is just a middleman in the war machine, nothing more, nothing less. It is a tool the West is using for war profiteering. I don't like it, not one bit.
At that point, like you're just, this isn't something that even like people have. So at least I would argue in my favor of like the people I'm calling woke right, at least there is like a coherent argument that I could make in a few sentences, and you'd go, okay, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, that like they're,
shout out to Guamtech who just did that with what, 3 sentences,
calling for safe spaces on college campuses, and now they're calling for safe spaces. They're calling for deplatforming, and now they're deplatforming. Okay, they're calling you a bigot when you raise a fair point that's not actually like bigoted. Okay, they're, so it's like at least there's just like a coherent, you understand what I mean when I say
but I also get pushed back. I use the term woke right, then a whole bunch of woke rights pop up, and they're like, there's no such thing as a woke right. And I'm like, that in itself is woke.
Yup. It's like, that doesn't exist. Like, well, but I'm demonstrating that it exists right here. No, plug in my ears. No.
Like, there's no such thing as a woke right. And I'm like, that in itself is woke. Because if there's a woke left, it's gonna be a woke right. They feel like because they're right.
And I wish we would have seen that coming. I mean, maybe some of you did, but I just didn't. I didn't see wokeness being a bipartisan thing. I didn't see it.
Because if there's a woke left, it's gonna be a woke right. They feel like because they're right wingers, allegedly, because they're just liberals in disguise to me, but they feel like because they're right wingers, they're impervious of being woke. Meanwhile, you got accounts out there that are going, oh my God, Miss France is black. And I'm like, are we serious right now? This is the greatest problem we could find is
no, sir. No, we are not serious at all. Not a serious country. Shout out to Matthew King. Welcome to the party. Very good to see you, sir. I'll let you guys have your religious discussion. I did all that yesterday. I'm about out.
France is black. And I'm like, are we serious right now? This is the greatest problem we could find is what's going on with the Miss America pageant. Meanwhile, go ahead.
Even that, I just think that like, okay, so the people who are more like on the culture war front, or the people like you're saying who are freaking out about, say, the latest, whatever, white movie was remade as a black movie, or a trans
Little Mermaid or some shit
at the Olympics, or whatever, even those people, I just
put one in the chat if you saw that Little Mermaid movie with the black one.
think a better term for them rather than woke is reactionary. Because that's what they are. They're reactionaries,
That's
and they're,
but I think that is maybe not 1 for 1, but that is kind of synonymous with why we came up with why we started using the term woke to describe woke people is the reactionary aspect.
Right. Because that's what they are. They're reactionaries, and they're the people who are fighting the
God? I know.
Latest
just
extension of the new thing that they don't like, and going, I want to return back to the beginning before we had this new thing. And there's always a group like that. And it's typically speaking, I think the real definition of a reactionary is a conservative who means it. It's not that far off. Like, it's like the conservatives state all these goals. A reactionary actually wants to see those goals implemented.
Right.
And I think it's just a better description of that. But the issue of the right wing.
Is that what you're saying? The movie doesn't exist? Box, I don't watch many movies. Matt, you said, hell no, I'm a grown ass man with sons. Well, maybe we just like pop culture. I don't know. Just asking.
It's just a better description of that.
But the issue
of the right wing.
The issue is that's not a branch of the right wing. That is the right wing. If you were to describe conservatives,
let's back that up.
Conservative. I think the real definition of a reactionary is a conservative who means it.
A conservative who means it. Means what?
You know, like it's not that far off. Like it's like the conservatives state all these goals. A reactionary actually wants to see those goals implemented.
Right.
And I think it's just a better description of that.
But the
branch
issue
of the right wing.
I don't know if I'm not fully understanding what he means by that, or if I just don't think that it applies to reality. But I'm not with that. I don't agree with that. I think, based on my understanding, I don't agree.
It's just a better description of that.
But the
branch
issue
of the right wing.
The issue is that's not a branch of the right wing. That is the right wing. If you were to describe conservatives right now, or what they call conservatives or right wing, the entire thing from top to bottom is a reaction to the left.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. But no, I don't agree with that. It's not a reaction to the degree of fervor we might have in the culture war is definitely reactionary to the left. But the principles that we want, existing in society, I mean, for many people, it comes from religion. So can't agree with that.
The entire thing from top to bottom is a reaction to the left.
Yes.
They don't have a platform.
Nah.
What did they argue about this year? They let the left dictate the platform. We're going to argue about abortion.
Whatever the last.
So remember that Dave is a libertarian, and I mean, Hotep is a Hotep, so I don't know that. Box said it's a reaction to corruption. But even still, the idea of wanting, nuclear families and keeping fathers in the home, that's not a reaction to corruption. That's not a reaction to wokeism. That's a held principle. Right? I mean, like, even if the left wasn't supporting the ideas of no fault divorce and all that stuff, I would still believe in the nuclear family. So that's not reactionary. And this is the uprising is a result of the left. The beliefs are not. Bingo. Well said. Yeah. So the degree, the fervor with which we are fighting these things is a reaction to how extreme the left has become. But the beliefs are not. Well said. So we all see the corruption, money in politics. The DNC is consumed with it at this point. The right used to be. And that's not what drove people to Trump. Agreed. But yeah, so I agree that I mean, I think I'm trying to figure out, because I don't disagree with you. But we're talking past each other, because what Matthew is saying is the bottom line principles we're already there. We have to separate what the principles are, and as Matthew's using it, the uprising itself, the desire for someone like myself to want to start a YouTube channel and talk about that stuff. Even if I didn't feel like I needed to do that, I would still have essentially the same positions. That doesn't mean that my reasoning for voting for Trump didn't come from what you're talking about with corruption. So everybody's right. Everybody's all right. Zippy said people voted for Trump because the DNC was far worse. Right, but and I mean, the Box is saying the right used to be just as corrupt, and Trump is definitely a central figure as to why that is not as much of the case. But I agree with you that it's not the principles that drove people specifically to Trump. But Trump was the only one who was able to get those principles in, fighting the woke machine. So we're kind of right, and we're talking a little bit past each other, but I think we all essentially agree. What's going on here? I need to see my pretty face. Matthew said I've always held these beliefs, but now I feel like I need to fight for these beliefs. Bingo. On fire, brother. Dilly to that. And I think other than, specifically like my position on firearms and my position on abortion, the principles that I had were the same, But the reason my position changed is because I learned more about the actuality of what would lead to my belief, my principle playing out in society. I used to be one of these liberals that, oh, people get shot with guns, so guns are bad. My desire was still to have less violence in society. But now I understand that more guns are the way to do that. You know, abortion was about rights and all that stuff. And I just was going along with, Columbus Hills. Blah, blah, blah. So the principles haven't changed. But as Matthew's saying here, always held the beliefs. But now I feel like I need to fight for these beliefs. Well said. Well said. Box said Trump promised to shake off the shackles of behind-the-scenes corruption. Now it's out in the open. Bingo. Yep. Drain the swamp. DNC talks to the billionaires behind the curtain. Trump drags them out on stage with them. Bingo. And that's what pushed me over the edge, because I remember I did not vote for him in 2020. But there was still this hangover effect of Trump is so much worse, even though he has good things to offer. What I didn't understand is I only think that he's worse because they're making me think that he's worse. They're showing all the things that all politicians do and make it seem like it's only Trump. All right. I think we're on the same page.
The platform. We're going to argue about abortion.
Whatever the last incremental victory that the left had, it's like, we sure are mad about that, while accepting all of the previous
secular, moral structures. That's the way. That's the way. Shout out to Guam Tech. No question, no comment, just pure love of the puppy. Thank you, thank you, thank you so very, very much, sir. And remember, we got Zippy's goal there too. So we are now 2 out of 10, 8 more. And not only does Morty get his bone, but I'm going to get swole. Let's get healthy. Thank you, thank you, thank you so very, very much, sir.
That the left had, it's like, we sure are mad about that, while accepting all of the previous victories as just part of America, like part of just that's who we are now.
So you can't just say that one fringe part of this entire group is reactionary, is called a reactionary. No, this is the woke right, and the entire right wing is reactionary because they don't have plans. They don't have a platform. They don't have principles.
I gotta disagree with that. Even though I am personally distancing myself from the conservative label, I just don't agree with that. There's plenty of principles.
Yeah, I mean, look, that certainly describes some people in the right wing, but I think that not having a plan. Well, yeah, well, I think you're kind of right about that. But then again, you get to a point where, okay, so then the entire right wing is woke or something like that. Again,
yes, right, which makes the word useless. So that don't help us. Hey, come on, Tech, again. Oh my goodness. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Said save it for the baby. So I'm tapped out after this. Well, don't be spending baby money on Morty. You got to take care of your own first. But hey, man, very, very, very much appreciated. And Zippy, unfortunately, knocks you right out of the sponsor spot. Thank you, thank you, thank you to the new sponsor of the stream. Thank you so very, very much, Guamtech.
Point where, okay, so then the entire right wing is woke or something like that. Again, in this case, well, maybe you're right about that, but then it's almost not a super useful term if it applies to everybody. But
it just don't apply to the Hoteps.
Not to the Hoteps. There you go.
That's woke.
Well, I think that I think by your definition, I don't think it would apply to like the Ron Paul libertarians either, because we have something kind of a bit different than just caring about like the last little thing that whatever progressive victory.
Well, this is where Dave's going to go into why he is so much better than the conservative party at large, and libertarians are better and all that. And in certain ways, yeah, sure. But to say that the entire conservative party does not have any principles, come on, man. What are we doing here, bro?
Caring about like the last little thing that whatever progressive victory at your local school board.
Y'all are the last allies we got left.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's and look, I mean, it is, from my perspective at least, that is the thing that I always kind of want to get back.
The no comment super chat has 2 likes, and the one where you're saying I'm saving for my baby has 1. What?
to, that like statism really is the great evil of our time, and that is what causes so many other problems. And it's not that everything would be perfect without giant, powerful governments, but it is that they just make all problems so much worse.
But that's
call him a Catholic, right? Tithing. It's called tithing.
that's what I don't get now, right? And I want to really understand you on this, right? Because you can't be pro-America and anti-Israel. You just can't do that, right?
Fair. I'm not anti-Israel. I'm anti doing what we are doing with Israel. I don't have anything against Israel except the things that they are doing to America by bullshitting and continuing to push the narrative that they need all their money. Like that I don't like. But I'm not anti-Israel. And I don't know. Let's make that a poll. Can you be pro-America if you are anti-Israel? And so anti. We're specifically saying anti, not the biggest fan. If you're anti-Israel, can you still be pro-America? I think so, but let's see what you guys have to say. King said, people hate babies.
What?
I mean, projection? What was that from? Should I pull? You don't want me to pull this up, Zippy? Anti-pussy footing around.
Bingo.
Well said. What else we got? Oh, you're gonna fix it. Okay, gotcha.
Be pro-America and anti-Israel. You just can't do that, right? For the specific reason,
And remember, Dave is not super thrilled with Israel. So,
are you getting a job at Daily Wire? Where is this coming from?
Dave Smith, everybody. You getting a job at the Daily Wire? Oh, let's hear that again.
You can't be pro-America and anti-Israel. You just can't do that, right? For the specific reason, for the specific reason.
Are you getting a job at Daily Wire? Where is this coming from?
Oh shit! Hey Ben, call me up. Y'all heard it. Y'all heard it, Ben. Ben, I'm material. You bought Tim Pool. Listen,
of course you can.
But
what does that mean?
I'm using your argument though, because because your argument is the issue is the state. So if you love America, that means you love the state.
Well, I would say that there are any of us love about America has nothing to do with the state. And this is the classic error that Frederick Bastiat wrote about, the equating of society with the state and the state with society. Mm-hmm. And so, no, I think there's completely different things. Like how I feel. Well,
what do you mean how? What do you mean how? Do you think that I wish I had a perfect example right here, but to take a little bit more of an obscure example, because I don't have one off the top of my head, but marriage is the way marriage is done now is bad, because marriage is supposed to be a religious thing. I should not be a person who gets married. It should be a very common and acceptable and normal thing to just have a civil union, gay or not. If I want to be with a woman for my entire life, and we are both atheists, then we should not be getting married. But because that's a legal thing now, you've conflated the two. So, and I mean, that has been conflated, but that doesn't mean it has to be. Maybe that's the word that I missed. So Zippy said, libertarians are like anarchists. They don't have a system. It just is, man. Their systems just exist, thus cannot compete in the market, because the market only allows artificial monopolies to flourish. Hot take from Zippy. Oh my goodness. I think you're kind of right. I definitely think that it kind of everything gets shoved down into, the simplest. It's non-aggression principle. It's property rights, and that's it. Everything else, it's so simple, guys. It's just so simple. Respect individual liberty. And like, it's like, yes, of course. I agree with that. But it's not as easy as you make it seem. King. So said, so I was less like people because it liked because they hate babies. Well, keeping it going, right? Keeping it going. And damn, 100% of you said yes, you can be pro-America and anti-Israel. Absolutely agreed. I even, well, I don't think that matters, but yeah, completely agreed. Matthew said, I love the idea of what America should be based on the Constitution. I hate what America has become. Bingo. Yep. Well said. Well said. Oh, let's get that from Zippy before we dive back in here. Said, communism works because it's a monopoly. It sells its ideas to people, and people back it to become slaves. People are dumb. Stupid. It is easy. It is that easy and simple. Yeah, I mean, it really is. It really is.
Equating of society with the state and the state with society. And so, no, I think there's completely different things.
How?
Like how I feel, well, how I feel about the town I live in and my neighbors and my daughter's school and my friends and my career is not how I feel about Joe Biden. And Joe Biden is not like some encapsulation of me or the country or what's great about all of us. So I think that it completely, I think if you love I think the only consistent position is that if you love the country, you would hate the criminals in DC who are looting the whole thing.
I mean, I think we can all agree on that. Gay, straight, Christian, atheist, left, right. I think we can all agree that the problem is the criminals in DC. I mean, among others, but that is where it all stems.
Love the country, you would hate the criminals in DC who are looting the whole thing.
So, okay. So when you say the country, you're talking about the society.
Yes.
Yes.
Which you just tried to say are the same things. The like the infrastructure of the party is the same thing as the people, or the political parties are the same as the people living in the society, which is silly.
That's what I'm saying. I think that's what goes into a nation or a country. Whereas like the government is something entirely different. The government is the monopoly on the initiation of violence, the monopoly on laws and court.
Oh God, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this?
Blowing their brains out by the tens of thousands when they get home.
Sounds like a huge benefit.
Blowing their brains out.
Oh my goodness. I think the sarcasm was pretty obvious there. I think. Good one though. Zippy said, hence why libertarians are like anarchists, constantly failing. They cannot construct and sell an idea they can't construct and sell an idea. Yeah, I completely agree. I think that and Dave will talk about this as well. He'll talk, talking about if you go to like a convention, like a libertarian convention, whether it's the official one or just, and you get some fucking weird people. And he was talking about some dude who was trying to talk about the Federal Reserve while he's wearing one of those Borat thongs. And it's like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? You expect me to take you seriously? Like, I know that you're correct on the thing that you're saying, but you're wearing a thong.
Come on, man.
Fox said libertarians are just anarchists with no conviction. I kind of like that. Because if there should be, well, I don't I think that's a good line, but the very simple fact that I think Dave believes there should be a military is very different than a Michael Malice who would say that we shouldn't. But good one. So he said, hence why libertarians and anarchists constantly fail. Okay. All right, so take two. Hence why libertarians and anarchists constantly fail. They cannot construct and sell an idea of non-interference. Gotcha. Yep. Their messaging is bad. I'm like, said, start at libertarian and work your way to sanity. It wouldn't be the worst way. It would not be the worst way to go. I could tell you that much.
Monopoly on the initiation of violence, the monopoly on laws and courts, and the monopoly on taxing power.
Which, and that's the state. I have no power on how much tax you pay.
That in itself,
I mean, directly, you know what I mean,
I think is, destructive toward prosperity and civilization. But again, it's not, to me, like, to like the case I made before about how disastrous these wars have been. Well, at the very least, I mean, like, even if people were outraged about like Jeffrey Sachs' comments that we've outsourced our foreign policy to Israel, and maybe you argue he's overstating that, and that's not true. You're not. You'd have to at least admit Benjamin Netanyahu did come to the United States Congress and testify in 2002 that we should overthrow Saddam Hussein. And as a regional expert, he testified that that would bring stability and democracy to the region.
Well, it's a good thing we didn't listen to him then, and it's a good thing we're not listening to him now. Oh, damn it. I was like starting with Ron Paul and ending at Iran. No shade to Ron Paul, but I absolutely agree. You know, when you have a principle that can go really far, like the non-aggression principle, you can stick to that very far, but only if you are already of that mindset. The problem with libertarians is, and I consider myself a lowercase L libertarian, but the problem is, and this is definitely a problem with me, the expectation that because I get it and I can do this and I don't need these guardrails, that nobody else does. And that's just not the case. That's just not the case. Context said the one criticism I have for Trump's cabinet picks is not bringing Rand Paul into the fray. That would be epic. I'm trying to think if there's a reason why I would be like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess maybe not, but I don't think there's a good reason not to. Bring them in. Well, somebody is definitely going to get fired. It's Trump. So maybe he's keeping Rand Paul on the bench, and when he'll be the closer. Maybe.
He testified that that would bring stability and democracy to the region, and it would be worth it and great. And then he also, in the same testimony, advocated that we overthrow Gaddafi in Libya and that we overthrow the mullahs in Iran. And, you know, at the very least, you say that guy supported all of these wars that has hurt our country. And so, no, I don't think having that guy having a close relationship with American,
not in the first debate, but eventually, yeah,
power is good in any way. I think it's very easy to be a critic of Israel because you think their relationship has a bad influence that hurts our country.
So my issue is,
what? It's
very easy to be a critic of Israel because you think their relationship has a bad influence that hurts our country.
Yup. That's how I feel. One more time, in case you missed it.
Power is good in any way. I think it's very easy to be a critic of Israel because you think their relationship has a bad influence that hurts our country.
So my issue is that flag behind you.
Flag?
Right?
That is an American flag. Very interesting if he's being sarcastic, or where are you going with this, homie?
Yeah, and then, you know, LeBron James don't want to stand for the Star Spangled Banner, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, LeBron James won't stand for the Star." And I'm like,
LeBron James.
All right, so either y'all love this state or y'all love the people, because the Star Spangled Banner is about letting off them things, okay? It's about war. It's about letting them things off. The fireworks in the sky on 4th of July is about letting them things off, okay? So a country who's got everything pointed towards war, now everybody's saying, we don't want no war. And I'm like, so do you love the people or do you love the state? Because then...
Very easy. Love the people, hate the state. This is not, I don't think, I think you feel like you're doing something, Hotep, but absolutely not. Buck said, I'm technically a bleeding heart liberal. Beta. Jokes. I like the idea of helping people. I don't give a fuck about the rainbow community. I hope they do well. I just think the government is utterly fucked at the moment. Yeah. I mean, this is the words of a bleeding heart liberal as of 2012. The landscape just has shifted so much that's not bleeding heart, because of specifically the fact that you bring up the rainbow community. You call it the rainbow community, even saying, I hope they do well, bro. Just pick a spot and chill. Thank you. I don't know. I don't know if that is something we would consider even like that. That sounds pretty centrist to me, because I love to pay my taxes. With them, I buy civilization. I'd rather do it with my own money and not leave it to the state, but fair enough. So you said, do you love the ideal of the state, or do you hate the state so much the idea and everything needs nukes from orbit? I love the ideal of the state. I love the ideal of the state. If it could be what it's supposed to be, it would be beautiful. Not that it would be without issues. And there's always going to be, I was going to say, you better not try to hop up here, motherfucker. There's always going to be bad actors. There's always going to be conflicting interests. There's always going to be the aspect that power corrupts. All those things are always, we can't get rid of those things. But we can live a lot more closely to the ideal of what the state should be. And I think if we did, then a lot of the low-level cultural issues that have arisen in the last 30 years wouldn't be there. When I was in high school, like, people didn't care about politics. People didn't talk about politics. It wasn't really a thing because, we didn't know how bad it actually was, namely because we were 15, but also because, there hasn't been a Trump yet. But it was just this thing that was there. The government did what the government was supposed to be, and we lived our lives separately from that. And now everything has been integrated, and there's not anything. Hi, Baba. Can you sit and stay this time? Or are you dancing around hoping they will give you treats? Is that what you're doing? I don't know. Smart move. Let's see if it works. Zippy said, weaponized empathy funded by corporations is wild. What's more wild to me is the fact that it worked for so long, that companies made all this money and people bought into it for so long. That's more surprising to me. Box, I also like the ideal of it. It's bad right now. 100% not our pinnacle. Great. So we love the flag and the ideal, even love the country, but hate the government. And that's the beauty of freedom and liberty, right? Market centralization captures law and thus governance. Yep. It would be great if it was just as simple as like, all right, let's do the good thing. But it's just not that simple.
Saying we don't want no war. And I'm like, so do you love the people or do you love the state? Because then you get up and you sing the ritual, the hypnotic ritual of the Star Spangled Banner. Then you get up there and you put the flag up there and you love the flag. But I'm like, these are symbols of the state and not of the people. Because I'm pretty sure the people had a different flag. I'm not sure if you're aware of it, but I know you probably are. But there was a different flag that represented the people as opposed to the one that was created for the United States of America, right? And
yeah, I get your point. Yeah.
Right. So they're going into this topic about contradictions in American conservatism. And as he's established, I don't think anybody here really agrees with those things. So let's jump around. Of course, we are about to hit the 2-hour mark, so we're not going to be able to finish it all. But let's get to some good stuff. Shout out to Jane Creek. Welcome to the party, a newbie. Love to see a newbie. Welcome. Very glad to see you. We are trying to figure out what is the woke right. Does it matter? And should we be paying attention? Welcome. So let's see. So we got, I'm just going to read these out. Pay attention. And whichever thing gets two votes, whichever gets 2 votes first is going to be the one. So be quick on your keyboard. That's the word. But first, shout out to Box. Thank you so very, very much. And of course, every donation comes with a treat for the Overlord Morty. Thank you so very, very much. And oh my goodness, I'm surprised they let this one through. Hey, say fuck YouTube and the censorship. Oh, I dropped that one. So we're getting a double. And I think that gets you 3 and 5, right? We got a new sponsor of the stream. Thank you so very, very much. All right, so the next options here, we got contradictions in American conservatism, which we're switching over, political shifts and historical context, America's dichotomy, force for good or evil. I thought it could be good. Impact of social media on propaganda. I feel like if we do those together, that would be pretty good. Zionism and power dynamics. I don't give a shit about that. the necessity of a coalition for a strong society, the shift to cultural decentralization, critiques of global capitalism and exploitation, the Zionist government and religious debates, again, more Israel stuff, and discussing political divides in Trump supporters. So whoever gets, we'll just say whoever picks one of those, we'll go with it. Jane said, I would say that the woke right is the reactionary right, the Ben Shapiro types. And that is exactly what we've been saying, that, because James Lindsay and Dave Smith are kind of the two heads of this. And yeah, we were definitely agreeing with that. I should have starred the things that Guamtech said, that, reactionary, emotional, not willing to divert from the orthodoxy, emotional, hypocritical, and lack of principles. It can happen left or right. So we got global. Is that one of these? The critique of global capitalism and exploitation. All right. Everybody, thank Box, whatever this is. I haven't seen this far.
Where just millions of people have been killed. And like I said earlier, it's just degraded our
country.
Right there.
Stop right there. Okay. That's where I have a disconnect. Because I'm thinking to myself, that shit ain't got nothing to do with me. They killing us.
Let's back this up a little bit, see what he's talking about.
The wars over the last 25 years, and the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan and in Syria and in Libya and in Somalia and
told y'all to be quick.
And where just millions of people have been killed. And like I said earlier, it's just degraded our country.
Stop right there. Okay. That's where I have a disconnect. Because I'm thinking to myself, that shit ain't got nothing to do with me. They killing us right here. They killing us right here with Cheez-Its. And Red 40 died, right?
Well, okay, but that's kind of let's see where he goes with that, because that's a very different thing.
And then they killing us to get parts in the iPhone. They're killing black children in the iPhone, but nobody goes, oh my God, what about the kids in Africa? It's like, oh, we worried about these other kids. But the entire American capitalist system is killing black people in Asia and Africa and South America just to keep this whole shit afloat. But nobody talks about that. It's just like, oh, this 1 million people in an Arab nation then rises to the top as the thing we got to be worried about because they're killed in a different way.
Sure. I mean, I get your...
I need to see what Dave is saying here to get a better range of what they're saying. Because Box is loving it. Said it's killing poor people. Sure. But... I need a little more context. Let's keep going.
Point on that, and it is probably true that people being killed by bombs being dropped on them just gets a slightly different reaction than kids being killed because they're like being forced by local warlords to mine something and dying of like exhaustion while they're doing it or something like that.
I'm not talking about if we have children dying around the world, and some of them are child soldiers, and some of them are in a mine and just pass away from, the black lung or whatever it is. I don't fucking know. Then it makes a lot more sense why we would see in the headlines there's child soldiers over the kids in mines. If for no other reason than because we all use our smartphones, but because it's not sexy as it comes when it talks about when we talk about news.
Buying something and dying of like exhaustion while they're doing it or something like that.
Boring.
I'm talking about just the IMF and the SDRs, right? Like just the IMF existing in a third world nation, creating debt and poverty is enough to.
Essentially the loan shark bully of the world empire that goes around just like essentially like strong arming poor countries into taking on unsustainable debt. And sure, look, I mean, we could be against all those things too. Right. I mean, I'm a complete I'm a Rothbardian in my heart of hearts. I'm a Ron Paulian in maybe a more practical sense, but I think that we should pull out of all of these organizations. I think the IMF should be abolished, and we shouldn't be, interfering in any of these.
But so tell me about Israel, because I really want to learn why you believe, because all of this stuff is subjective. Let's be clear. I can't say one is more important than the other. Why do you believe the Israel thing is the thing?
Well, it's not. Look, I mean, again, I'm not saying there are lots of things that are very important. The reason why I pay a lot of attention to this one and have been very interested to learn about the history. I mean, look, there's several reasons. In part, it's because I'm Jewish and I grew up as kind of an atheist Jew, but Jewish by like, blood.
Based. Yeah.
But I, I was always kind of immersed in the pro-Israel version of the story. And as I got more interested in American foreign policy, and I started kind of bumping up against the fact that, Israel, okay.
You're going to learn today.
So much of it revolves around Israel. And that's not to like say that like,
the Jews around the world.
It's all Israel's fault, but there's just no question that it was like one of the major reasons why, and 9/11, I was in New York City during 9/11, and the war on terrorism was kind of like during my coming of age.
Yeah.
And Israel is just very related.
6th grade, Miss Schmidt's class. Where were you when you saw the towers fall?
Age.
Yeah.
And Israel is just very related, both in the reason we have this fight with the Muslim terrorists to begin with, and the beef was largely about our support for Israel. It was also about our intervention in the Middle East, but a lot of that was also in support of Israel. And
that's a lot of the stuff that when I first was asking about and first brought people on to talk to me, one of them being Jewish and one of them just being more pro-Zionist, I guess. Those were kind of the parts that were left out. Oh, it's all England's fault, and they did this, and it's terrorists, and they're all bad, and we're all good. Nah, I knew it wasn't that simple.
Our intervention in the Middle East, but a lot of that was also in support of Israel. And so it was right away, it was like, not only are we picking this whole fight that now is a legitimate threat to this country, but on top of that, at every single turn, they are using all of their influence, which is not insignificant, in order to get us to continue fighting these wars. And I just think it's not just that it's horrible for the people there, but as I laid out before, I think it's hurt our country tremendously. And so I think that's an important topic. I'm not saying it's the only important topic, and there are other things that are, and I
understand. You almost forgot to update the banner. Thank you to our sponsor, Zippy DSM Elite. Says cussing at the VCR for recording news and not my cartoons. Yeah. Contact said science class in 9th grade. Oh, you were a little older. I thought it was funny at the time because I thought someone just started a fire on accident. I had no idea it was an attack, and people were still in the building. Yeah, our school didn't like show it to us in real time. And I'm from Jersey, so there was like it's like right here. My dad also worked in Manhattan, but just happened, he worked in a bunch of different places and happened not to be there that day. Thank goodness. But all morning, they were just let me do that. Side quest here. And look, the bones. If we get, we missed the goal already. But hey, if we get another $7, and we'll hit the goal, you guys can do it. They weren't showing the news. Just all morning, people were getting called out of class, and this is before you'd be really like texting with your parents and stuff. So people were just getting called out of class. And we're like, what the hell is going on? And it wasn't until sixth period, that they told us. They didn't show us anything. They told us what was going on. And I thought maybe I just learned the phrase death wish, that somebody would have a death wish. I just learned that. And I was like, maybe somebody had a death wish, and that's it. I had no idea. It's science class in 9th grade. I understand when my science teacher looked at me like he was disgusted. Oof. I don't like that. CB said, is it Israel who has the influence, or is it the industry as a whole using them? I think you got it. The industry, it's all working on itself, right? Jane said there are a lot of American corporate interests that want us embroiled in the Middle East affairs as well. Fossil fuel, central banks, and so on. Israel is without a doubt a major reason as well. And if it was such that we were, talking about transparency, if it was such that we're like, hey, look, we got a bunch of shit over here that we want to protect, and we don't give a fuck about this, we don't give a fuck about that, here's what we're going to do because we get oil and money. Then I personally still wouldn't be for it, but at least they would be honest, and people would be able to say, okay, I'm for that, or I'm not for that. Transparency. Do you think we ever would have gone to Iraq? Probably not. Hey, oh my goodness. Now you're making me feel like I'm taking food out of your baby's mouth, man. Thank you. Co-sponsoring. So just saw an extra commission come through. Someone back me up before the pup. Guys, $2. Let's give him his treat for that. Thank you so very much. $2, and he gets a bone, and we get swole. That swole goal is right there. Thank you so very, very much. And of course, a new co-sponsor of the stream.
Like, I'm not saying it's the only important topic, and there are other things that are. And I
understand your point now.
I don't begrudge anyone who's saying like, it's not what I'm interested in. I'm not going to focus on that.
Right.
But it's a very consequential relationship, and I guess I also just I really resent the idea that there's like a foreign government that's off limits to criticize, or somehow you're kind of like viewed as a bad person for doing that. And that you know, essentially, like in all of polite society, you can't say anything about this very consequential special relationship. I just resent that. And I kind of don't like my people being weaponized against, you know what I mean? Like, I don't like
being used as a tool. I wouldn't either. I do want to address Box here before we get to our swole goal. But yeah, I can't imagine if like what was going, because you know, 6th grade was in our middle school. I can't imagine what that, you know, not like I had a brother that was in high school that could have told me, but we didn't talk. So I can't imagine how strong the desire to be like, we got to do something about this would have been if you were actually of the age to do that. I mean, obviously, a lot of people were moved by it, but you know, just thinking about it on that level of like the people in my class being, you know, saying like, okay, we got to do this. That's heavy, bro. Yeah, I didn't see anything until I got home. Class of 02, 08, don't hate, baby. Oh my goodness. That is our swole goal. So first, let's give Morty his treat for that. Then let's bust this bitch open. Yeah, where did that come from, bro? Where did that come from? I'm hiding stuff from you. This is from everybody here. We're gonna go through it. But this here, you want to go eat it there? Look, right here. There you go. Thank you so very, very much, guys. I bet you. I put a 1 in the chat if you think he's gonna finish this before the end of the stream. I have a feeling he's gonna do it. Thank you so much. Do not let me forget about the swole stream push-ups. We're all gonna pay ourselves together. I think it's better to do it at the end of the stream. So we ride on. Thank you again, guys. Very, very much appreciated.
I don't like labeling people as bigots, sloppily, you know, and I just never like that. I don't like when any other group does that. I don't like when Jews do it either. And I just always kind of resented that. So I think that's a big part of why I care this. And also on top of that, I've just read a lot about the history and I find it really fascinating.
Again! Oh my goodness. Box and Papa Zell, grab your socks. I'm from Fresno. I don't know what the fuck that means, but a treat for Morty. Thank you. Oh, very, very, very much appreciated. You guys are blessing me. Thank you so very, very much, sir.
So on top of that, I've just read a lot about the history and I find it really fascinating. No matter what side you're on, it's a really fascinating history.
Oh, it sounds like somebody who's talking about like, well, you know, I mean, the Holocaust, you know, I just, you know, with Hitler wasn't that bad. I just like reading about it.
Absolutely. I spent years studying it. But I think I finally realized what it was. And I can relate to that. You're like, coming full. This conversation's gone full circle. You're like the Jew coon, right? Like, just like I would be labeled a coon, but I would be labeled a coon by our boule or intelligentsia, right? So the power structure of the Black community, which is the universities and the entertainment world. Same thing with you. You're like, you grew up like idolizing this stuff. Like I grew up idolizing Oprah and all of that, and then you come to find out, wait, hold on, like y'all some liberals.
My name is Richie Cunningham, and this is my wife, Oprah.
Y'all support the Democratic Party, so you. This is sort of like you had a red pill moment, and you like, I get it now. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, it's I think very similar to that. And I was when I did Candace Owens show the first time, we talked about that quite a bit, but like there are these parallels between like kind of Black conservatives, or at least Black people who kind of like woke up to like the white liberal agenda and how what the actual impact of that is for Black people, and Jews who were kind of like, wait a minute, we're supposed to blindly support Israel? Well, I don't know, I certainly don't agree with what they're doing here and here, and
which is the only reasonable position for anybody. Look at him. Thank you again, guys. You are amazing. Guamtech said, everyone was so worried about people mass buying toilet paper. I still remember cars lined up and down the street for gas because we didn't know what the fuck was going to happen. Mass psychosis became very real very quick. Yep. You remember that from 9/11? I mean, I must have been too young for that, but here it's a common thing. It's a little bit more common if you have wintry areas, because every time it snows, it's like, you gotta get the bread and eggs, you gotta get the bread, milk, and eggs. It's like it's a meme around here. But the funny thing about the toilet paper, whether it was what? Go get it. Whether it was the you see what he's looking at it. Go get it. Whether it was COVID or whether it was 9/11, the notion of people buying toilet paper and hoarding it, it's so funny. The psychological trick. Hey, you cheater! What, you want to come up here? The psychological aspect of it is, come on, that toilet paper takes up a lot of shelf space, and so if somebody buys 2 or 3 instead of 1, then it looks like the shelf is empty. And if it looks like the shelf is empty, then everybody's like, oh my goodness, I've got to get this before it runs out. But how much toilet paper do you need? Yeah, you know what I mean? Fox said, Dr. MLK talked about the liberal agenda. Take it, bro. I can't shove it down your throat. He's having fun. It was the World Trade Center. Indeed, it was. Shout out to the Freedom Tower.
Finally support Israel? Well, I don't know. I certainly don't agree with what they're doing here and here.
Yeah.
And one of the things that's really is, it's funny about it, but it's like they do it's the first they call you a self-hating Jew,
right?
If you criticize Israel, and they call you essentially the same thing if you're a Black who's like not on the progressive bandwagon. Larry Elder is the black face of white supremacy or whatever. It's like
that was one of the wildest headlines maybe ever. Larry Elder, the black face of white supremacy.
It's so I always just found it to be like and I think you're right that it's the power structure, particularly within both groups. But I always just found the argument to be so like obviously stupid. Like, I mean, I don't know, like, I could listen to, like, when I first started getting real interested in politics, I used to read Thomas Sowell quite a bit, and Walter Williams and guys like that.
Oh, those some premier coons. Okay, yeah.
Yes, right. And then I would see them get labeled those names, and you would just be like, yeah, but like if their argument is correct, then they're the ones who are advocating for Black people. Like maybe they're wrong, but like, which I largely don't think they are.
Yeah.
But like maybe like, but you know what I'm saying? So it's like it's always just like, oh, this is obviously just a tactic to like do this. Like you try to like psychologically fuck with people to be like, oh, if you have this opinion, you're going to get labeled with this thing that makes you feel like you're outside your in-group. And that's a very hardwired thing in human beings to not want to feel like you're outside your in-group, because that's where you get fucking eaten or killed or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yup. Shout out to Bryson. Welcome to the party. So that always blew my mind. No toilet paper. Wash it then. Use a shirt. Use a paper towel. They had napkins. They had other paper products that never made sense to me. I am right there with you. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party, sir. Zippy says Al Sharpton is the true face of white supremacy. White liberal savior supremacy, that is. More accurate. And definitely.
Like you're outside your in-group because that's where you get fucking eaten or killed or whatever, you know what I mean? And so like they kind of attack, but I always was just like, yeah, that's stupid. And then that just makes me resent it more. And I'm like, well, that bullshit's not going to work on me. So now I got to double down with what I was saying because come on, you know? And like, I don't know. That's always been my attitude.
Somebody called me Sammy Davis Jr. Hey, y'all better leave my Jewish homies alone, man. It's my greatest ally. We're going to go to Super Chats.
Right.
Markel, thank you. He said this was a
They're going to Super Chats here. All right, so let's back up. We'll do one more of these, but first, oh my goodness. Box coming through. So when you're sitting on the John and toilet paper's gone, be a man, use your hand. I like it. I don't know if I'll personally do it. I tend to have a little bit of a reserve of toilet paper so they never run out, but whatever floats your boat. Thank you so very, very much. Mom said, I'm happy I haven't installed bidet. I've been wanting to do that, but just is it weird? Is it something to get used to, and that you just have to get used to it? Talk to me about that. That's because I mean they make them pretty cheap these days, don't they? Where you could it's just like a seat, and you just screw it on, screw off the one, and screw that one on, and it has the water in it, right? Maybe I should do that. Guantek said for $20 on gin, you can be as boogie as me. What? I have no idea what that means. Ryan said, no, bidets is good. All right, word up. I might get it. Are you saying, was that supposed to be on like Amazon or something? Saying that the bidet only costs $20? Maybe. I'll look out for it. Uh-oh. Zimmy says bidets do not work when you're constipated. I tend to be a little bit more regular than that. So, not a problem. I'm going to get the I thought that said the hand version. Like, what hand version? I don't want a hand version. To get the wand version. Getting the angle on the small nozzle can be hard sometimes. All right. Hey, how the fuck did I know that gin was Amazon? I'm getting better at reading this bullshit that you guys say. And terrible spelling. I guess you know, we're going to do it. Well, I mean, you already have the water in the poop when you poop. You don't want to use that exact water because now it's poopy water. But use fresh water, and I mean, like they always say, you know, if you have dirt on your hand, would you rather just wipe it with a piece of paper, or would you rather wash it off? Yeah, I mean, nope. I am spending the money to make sure that it has temperature control. If I'm gonna get a bidet, it's gonna be temperature controlled. That's end of story. Like TMI. I really only use 3 because I get the Charmin. I only use 3 sheets, so I'm a little dude. I don't got a lot of space, and 3 sheets is plenty for me. So I don't know if we need to go down that road. But if I get a bidet, it better talk to me. I don't know if I'd be comfortable with that. So I'm going to pick this one. I wanted to see the impact of social media on propaganda because, as you guys know, I love me my TikTok. TikTok is the tits. And even just now in Discord, which again is free to join, definitely should come through, link pinned at the top. I was saying I love how Redditors will make fun of people for using TikTok. And Jiku Senshi, the guy who never comes through and always has something to say, said, I mean, they live in glass houses, but they're not wrong. I said, how the fuck would you know? You've never been on TikTok. I've been on Reddit. It's fucking depressing. TikTok is awesome. Don't just listen to what people tell you, you know. Try it out. So, yeah, the impact of social media. Hey, Box is coming back. We have been wondering, bro. We like, you are not a non factor. You are not a non-factor in these after parties, man. We missed you, so please do. We miss you. All right. Social media.
There does seem to be this tremendous realignment where the regime is just not able to sell propaganda in the way that they've historically been able to do it. It is much more difficult for them now. You know, I don't know if you saw CNN got caught a couple days ago doing like a fake video.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
and it was like 48 hours before they had to admit it. Before they
which video? The one of the lady crying at the border. Do you guys know which one it is?
Even had to admit that, because today you just can't, like, it's like the dynamics aren't what they used to be.
Yeah.
It's not just like, oh, nobody can really. Now you have social media that has just like, you know, I don't even know what the number would be, but if CNN lies like that, that CNN show maybe had like a couple 100,000 people watching it, but the video of them lying on the internet is going to be viewed like hundreds of millions of times. Like,
is this worth a side quest?
It's just because it just goes super viral and everything. So then now it's like people can actually call out the regime's bullshit and pressure them, and they have to admit it. And you kind of see how they've just lost control of this thing. And while that's happening, to some of the stuff you're talking about, I mean, the
bro. Talk about, oh, well, I guess I didn't do that, but talk about side quest. Yes, bro. There's so much that, like, I would never click on YouTube or something, but I've learned so much just because it showed up and the person, you know, had an interesting enough way of speaking or whatever, and I learned a lot.
The plan that's laid out is like spinning it off a cliff, like where the country is completely bankrupted. The currency has been just totally degraded. The culture has been collapsing for many decades right now by just like objective measures of how healthy a society is, how much they get married and reproduce and aren't on prescription medication or whatever, you know what I mean? You want to, however you want to judge it.
Hey, shout out to Bill Bradley. Welcome to the party. This video is from December. The line about a Syrian prisoner release. I forgot that we were talking about like what just happened, but we were talking about a month ago. Good question. They lied about a Syrian prisoner release, but he wasn't a prisoner. He's part of the Assad regime hiding. It really is a sad commentary when there's always going to be, oh, they just did this. I forgot that this was from 3 months ago. Because they did just have I'm sure you guys saw the lady crying at the border because she missed her appointment. She was an actor. And we've seen CNN do CNN shit like that all the time. Also, if I see a black kid in a leather jacket, I might cross the street. How dare you? How dare you? Oh, wait, I missed this one. Maybe this one. So Bog said, kids in primary colored shirt and khaki pants now scare the shit out of me. And I used to be a khaki pants kind of guy. If I see a black kid in a leather jacket, I might cross the street. What? Why? So I have to double check. It was either, so again, there was a couple different stories. So there was one with an actor, and then there was one where the lady's appointment was on a federal holiday, and so maybe she genuinely didn't realize, but the story was that, oh no, this woman could have gotten into the country, but now that Trump's here, she can't. Oh no. But it's like, no, you had something scheduled where nobody was in the building. So yeah, I think that might be the one that was fake. Let's see, we'll take a quick side quest. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but let's see. Lady at the border, fake. Well, this seems to be. Let's see what's her face said. What was it?
On visas, but old pro-Hamas sympathies. The president is open to deporting individuals who have broken our nation's immigration laws. So if they are here illegally, then certainly he is open to deporting them. And that's what this administration is hard at work at doing. We receive data from.
But I mean, the video that I was talking about was this lady.
On visas,
oh,
but.
Oh, God damn it. God damn it. Oh, God damn it. It was this one, but yeah.
This app has helped nearly 1 million people cross into the U.S. legally, but the shutdown will affect thousands of migrants trying to cross through the San Diego border, and the news has left some in tears. Migrants at the border breaking down, seeing their appointments canceled minutes after President Trump was sworn into office. This Colombian migrant saying, "May President Trump have compassion and let us cross after 6 months of suffering." Her appointment was set for the same day the app went dark. Every day, up to 1,450 migrants would line up at 8 border crossings, waiting for their appointment to legally cross into the U.S. on immigration parole.
So that's, I mean, that's what I was talking about. I don't know exactly the details, but somebody had her somewhere else and doing a similar kind of thing for CBS or CNN or whatever it is. But yeah, there's propaganda all goddamn day. So did I. I definitely felt bad for her. Yeah, it's not exactly how. Are we talking about Caroline or are we talking about the lady at the border? Yeah, damn. Bill said the lady that broke the Syrian prisoner story was the same lady from years ago that said she could smell that a chemical attack definitely happened in Syria by sniffing a backpack days later. What? That sounds like bullshit. Hey, Boxen, honestly, they're procrastinators, not who we're looking for. You ain't wrong. Get here on time. We opened the fucking border for you, and you couldn't even get here. Exactly. Great mind. The border's open for 4 years, and you show up 2 days short. Come on, man. Good one. All right, let's dive back in.
How healthy a society is,
Yeah.
how much they get married and reproduce, and aren't on prescription medication or whatever. You know what I mean? However you want to judge it. And so there is this thing where I think we're kind of like, there's a lot of danger in a period like this, but also in a period of like this is kind of like when things can shift and something big can happen. And I don't think that, like, I do think that there's been human progress in the past, and there's no reason why it can't be in the future.
Which is exactly my point about religion. How do you know that we won't have a better advancement with whatever your beliefs are in whatever God you believe in? How do you know that we have the full answer?
You know, I also don't think it's gonna take an element of elites as well. It's not just going to be like some popular, because nothing's ever just a popular uprising. There's always like elites who are somewhat involved in it. There's rich people behind the scenes and stuff like that who
Absolutely
are really pulling strings.
Okay,
but and when I say rich, I mean like rich, not like, you know, like, I mean people worth like in the billions at least.
correct.
And
we got Elon, but he's kind of a wild card.
And maybe that's not enough these days. You got to be worth like hundreds of billions. But even sometimes you could get those guys who are kind of like, all right, they view it in their best interest to do something that's a little bit good for the people, so the people don't ultimately overthrow them.
Donald Trump, ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump. I am not disillusioned to think that he cares about me as an individual. I am very aware that he is doing what is good for him, and what is good for him is right now is what is good for America.
Because that is the common fear amongst all the elites, is that the people will figure out what's really going on and overthrow them. That's always from the first time anyone ever took over a society. That was always the big fear. It's like, you have to rule these people now, and and there's a lot more of them than there are of you. So you got to make sure that they fucking stay in line. And I just see.
Can I tell you how I view that?
Of possibilities.
Can I tell you how I view that?
Sure.
I view that how I view anti-Semitism, right? Where the elites are usually 10 steps ahead. So they're going to give you the information. So somebody could do something stupid and they could pass legislation and take away your rights. So in one way you think like, oh.
Shout out again to Box. Sorry to update the banner. The new sponsor of the stream.
The people are being liberated with the information, and that's the state losing power. But I'm like, Nah, this is what they did with the Reichstag fire decree. This is what they did with the Patriot Report. They're going to give you enough rope to hang yourself, and that's
that's a concern for sure. And that's
shout out to the J6ers.
What people got to be really smart about that shit. And that was nothing else, but that was my biggest critique of the people who were going in there on January 6th. And I don't know exactly what percentage of those people were like feds or Fed informants or whatever, and what weren't. But anybody who did just get swept up in it, and I'm sure there were just regular people who just were like in the moment, fuck it, we're gonna do. It's like, hey man, you do not ever want to do some shit like that. Like you're, like that is what the ruling class would love more than anything else, is for you to give them the excuse. And so I do.
Please. And so I put up a new poll without hindsight, meaning you are not in 2025. We are back in 2021. Would you have gone to that rally if you could have? A lot of us probably could have and chose not to, but then that's just a no. If you were too far, or you were busy, then if you were able to go, would you have gone?
Ruling class would love more than anything else, is for you to give them the excuse. And so I do certainly think that you always have to try your best to be on guard about that. Like that's why I was, people gave me shit for it, and I understand that he was encouraging people not to go in the building or whatever. But I like him. He was very cool to me. But Alex Jones, I was like, what are you even doing down there, dude? Come on, you know this shit better than anybody, right?
And shout out to Right Click, same mindset. I thought it was a bad idea the first I heard of it. I definitely didn't see it like going like that, but it just seemed too ripe for bullshit, which clearly it was. Welcome to the party, sir. Zibby DSM Lee said religion needs to be passive, to be focused on refining one's own skills. People will then follow the examples you set. Dilly to that. If only. Bill Bradley said FDR gave us the New Deal after the business plot where elites tried to coup him and install General Smedley Butler, who later said, I was a racketeer, a gangster for capitalism. So FDR got scared and turned to the people because the elites turned on him. Is that something that we can see happening to Trump, or were they never on his side to begin with, and then he won them over? And then even if he won the elites over, they could still turn on him. So is that something to worry about with Trump? I certainly don't know for sure. I don't think so. But what do you guys think?
Jones, I was like, what are you even doing down there, dude? Come on, you know this shit better than anybody, right? This has been the whole message you've been drilling home this whole time, is that they and I know people like, oh, that he told them not to go in the building. It's like, yeah, but don't even be there, like this is just, it's so easy for them. Even, come on, I mean, if you're, at a Trump protest and you're protesting the certification of the ballot, you see how they're going to be able to frame you up for this if anything goes wrong. And that's not saying that I have the same, opinion that CNN has. So I'm not saying like it was an insurrection, and
well, of course not. But I mean, I don't specifically remember him saying that, before. So again, that's why I put without hindsight in the poll question, because obviously, with hindsight, if you would want to go, then you're fucking retard.
Worse than 9/11. It's like, no, it was nothing. Ultimately, it was really nothing. But it's just I think the point that you were trying to make, like the kind of like, guys, let's have a little bit of wisdom here and recognize that you always could be vulnerable. And that's true for any like protest movement or any dissident movement or anything like that. You're always going to be vulnerable for provocateurs and
don't forget the third angle is the MK Ultra bot, right?
Yep.
If you don't actually,
I don't know if they don't do that anymore, right?
Do something, they'll stage it.
Yeah, well, they've definitely got some tricks up their sleeves, and they've done a whole lot of things. As it's if you just started talking about what the CIA has done in declassified files, like what has been admitted to the public, not like there's no controversy over it. They admit that they've done this, and if you just read through it, just in yourself, you'd sound to the average normie.
I don't know what you're talking about, Dave.
Kook in the world.
I don't know what you're talking about, Dave. You sound crazy right now, Dave.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, me neither. That's wild. I know that he's definitely wrong about that. We love the feds over here. Bill Bradley said there's a conspiracy theory about J.D. Vance. He said history with Silicon Valley. The conspiracy is the tech guys are lining up behind Vance, and they will seek to remove Trump and install Vance. Dubious, but a conspiracy theory floating around. Interesting. I had not heard this. I definitely would like to pay attention to this because I think that with all of the hullabaloo after 2016 and then just silence since this past election, it just seems like they're biding their time. It seems like there's something. It might be this, it might be something else, but I am not very optimistic that something like this wouldn't be tried. This specifically, I have no fucking idea. I'm just hearing about it right now. But it'll make it a lot of sense. Listen, Ohio people aren't that smart. Oh, shout out to Ohio and maybe your new governor.
The
Talk
biggest
about Dave.
kook in the world.
I don't know
Like,
if you talking
what-
about Dave. You sound crazy right now, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be like, yo, this is insane. What are you talking about? And you're like, no, this is the shit they cop to, not the shit that we
Are they that smart or do they have that much power and access? Not the same thing, but definitely agree.
haven't figured out yet. This is what they admit they had to tell you about this time. And so, there's no question there's all types of forces like that. But then there's also
Guys, really quick, if you are new here, please do hit that subscribe button. It helps so much, guys. I am live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, but I also sometimes whenever I feel like it. So hit the subscribe, ring the bell, and you will never miss an Indian Jesus live party ever again. Thank you so very, very much.
like, there's all types of battles within the powers that be. And, there's you kind of just never know exactly where these things are going to go. But there's no question that
Yeah, now that you say that, that does seem like a silly idea. Like, take advantage of the fact that Trump is there. He's got all of the he could be the one that has all the dirt, so to speak, where MAGA can continue, but Trump was the bad one. So just throw everything at him. Now he's in a second term. It doesn't really matter. He doesn't need to be reelected. So now he said, that breaks a lot of confidence in the fact that this conspiracy would really happen. That said, you never know. Well, they said, nah, Trump is moving forward with everything they want, and then Vance could be another 8 years to continue it. Yeah. The question would be, is there something in the next 4 years that is so time sensitive, so imminent, that we couldn't wait 4 years? I still haven't seen this. We got that. That's gonna be our next movie night. I don't know when, but maybe this weekend. We definitely have to watch Hillbilly Elegy because he's our vice president. He is now our vice president, not our incoming, not our VP elect. He is our vice president, and I don't know his story, and it's on fucking Netflix. So we definitely got to do that. But what did you mean by this, Box? Because I didn't see it or read it.
these things are going to go. But there's no question that, like, people, I think people like, and again, I think this is like kind of a fundamental libertarian insight, where I would argue the most fundamental libertarian insight is essentially that the state is a group of human beings, and that they should be judged morally by the same standards that we judge other human beings, that they don't get this kind of like extra.
Hey, shout out to Right Click, going to be joining our Severance watch parties. If you are a member of this channel, guys, you have all the access to not just the after parties after our Monday, Wednesday, Friday streams, but like I just said, we're going to be watching Hillbilly Elegy, and every Friday, as soon as I wake up around noon, sometimes I take out the dog and all that stuff, we watching Severance. I'm very, very, very excited for the rest of this season. Quantek said, I like conspiracy theories, but the technocrats seem to have realized who kept them in chains and who is giving them freedom. Zuck flipped the script because he knew which way the wind was blowing. Good point. Good point. Good point. You'd think that the question is he smart enough or crafty enough to have that be his public position, but in the background, it's like, yeah, we gotta get this motherfucker out here. Me and JD Vance are gonna take over the world. You never know. You never know.
Judged morally by the same standards that we judge other human beings, that they don't get this kind of like extra moral, quality to them because they are congressmen or friends. And so if a cop did something to you that wouldn't be justified if you just did it to another person, then he's the bad guy. This, it doesn't matter like, oh, well, he had a badge on, so therefore he's like in some different plane of what, God believes is right and wrong for them to do. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And so when you recognize that, you recognize like, okay, well then what is the government? I mean, like, what would we call any other organization that did what the government did? If they taxed people at the threat of kidnapping them, and they started mass murder campaigns that they called wars, and you'd be like, oh, I know what you are. You're a gang. Like, okay, you're a criminal organization. Like that's, and so you're talking about the biggest, baddest, most powerful criminal organization in the history of the world. And they will fucking kill babies by the hundreds of thousands for strategic reasons. What
As we've seen. Grumtic said, Trump basically said, stop the censorship and I'll give you the freedom to make money and gain power. Government controlled them under Biden. Government is working with them under Trump. Again, agreed. But the fact is that there's a world where it plays out that I don't need the freedom. I just want the money. I don't think that Zuckerberg cares all that much about freedom. I don't think that he is against freedom, but I think he cares about his position in the world, his money, his bottom line, even the success of his companies more than he cares about freedom. So right now, those two things are aligned. So it seems. But there's certainly a situation. If we go to this this thing about JD Vance's working behind the scenes, you don't need the freedom if you got all the money. And if I mean, I already think that Meta is essentially a monopoly, essentially. But yeah, this is not strong enough. The fact that they've been showing, the fact that Elon's working with Trump is a strong positive, and the main reason why Meta is not a monopoly. But I don't know about Zuck. I don't know. And I do believe that he's, being legit in what he's saying. But I just, as we say, as the wind blows. Bill Bradley said, I think the tech guys got in line with Trump because they were afraid of retribution. Trump is vengeful. That very possibly. Very possibly. Yeah, you don't want to be on Trump's bad side. Trump said both are scary, but Zuck even said that he fears technology being controlled by the government the most. Yeah, he said that. That's what he said. Does he mean it? But Riley said everyone else in the media feared a Trump second term. Same in social media. Which really raises the question. Raises the question. What does he really want? What does he really want? I mean, I'm willing to believe that, freedom equals money, so I'm down with that. That's a simple enough equation that it's reasonable. But let's just keep our eyes open. You know what I mean?
Kill babies by the hundreds of thousands for strategic reasons, whatever those might be, whether it's more power or more money or some geopolitical, chessboard move. If this country falls, we'll have more influence in this country, whatever. But anyone who was willing to do that type of shit to secure that type of power, yeah, what do you think they would do to you if you were a threat to that power?
Kill you.
I'm a Zionist, so I ain't got no problem with
you
it.
don't have to deal with these.
Yeah. Me too.
You don't have to deal with these problems as a proud Jewish Zionist as yourself.
Shalom. To all my Akis out there, got no problem.
But so the point is that you don't want to ever you want to be smart.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the unless we see something duplicitous that would make us question this, I think it's fair to accept this as it is. That Zuck he doesn't want to be controlled, and he does care about he does care about communication, all those things. Like a random college kid isn't going to start Facebook for shits and giggles. But he's not a college kid anymore. But again, I'm okay with where we're at. It's just keeping our eyes on that shifty little fuck.
Anybody who's advocating that you break the law, anybody who's advocating you do something violent, just treat that person like they're a fed, whether they are or not. Just treat them like that. Don't do anything stupid like that. But it's the way that we win is like a a boiling frog, type of thing to some degree. This is how the Soviet Union almost collapsed. Eventually, the people just didn't believe the propaganda anymore. They were just, this is all bullshit. And
it's crazy to me that speaking of wokeness, but the wokeness 1.0, that type of propaganda and rhetoric is still being eaten up. We just saw it in the chat with what the fuck, Taco Baco. He was hanging out with friends and touching grass. That's a normal thing to say. But we just saw it. No. We didn't bow down to the woke elite enough. It's just like there was it was a town hall or something. I don't know. I saw it on TikTok. Don't actually mean to source it, but it was a bunch of people in the a little bit lower in the Democratic Party, and they were saying, "How raise your hand if you think that racism and misogyny was a main factor why Kamala didn't win." All of them. Like, really?
Oh, man.
Hey, shout out to CT223. Welcome to the party. I am doing well. Thanks to all of you guys. You guys always come through for me. I really, really, really do appreciate it. Thank you so very, very much. Have fun with those tacos.
the people just didn't believe the propaganda anymore. They were just, this is all bullshit. And we know you're lying to us. And we know this doesn't work. And we know the system is corrupt. And everyone knew it. And there were so many of them. And there were real debates, like at the time of the collapse of the Soviet Union, whether or not they were going to forcefully put down these separatists who wanted to break away. And they were just overwhelming in numbers. And eventually the states hired guns were like, yeah, we're not going to just shoot on our own people. So
yeah,
that's it. And that was the end of it, you know? And not that
is that what it was? A DNC event to elect new leadership of the DNC? It was a South Park bit or an SNL sketch in real life. Let's see. Okay. Let's side quest. So it was the DNC event. Raise hands. Racism. Let's see if we got that. What we got?
Whether you're Hispanic, whether you're transgender.
No, this ain't it.
Whether you're straight, whether you're black.
Gay? No, this wasn't it. Let's try the tube. I don't know where to find it. If somebody knows where to find it, we will definitely check it out in the after party. Bryson said, I was thinking grass was weed. That's why it tasted strange. Well, I mean, it definitely could be, but and I'm you know what? I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna be nice. All right, let's finish this up and head to the after party.
Our own people. So
yeah,
that's it.
Wait, what about our own people?
The states hired guns were like, yeah, we're not going to just shoot on our own people.
Oh yeah.
So that's it. And that was the end of it, you know? And not that everything was perfect after the Soviet Union collapsed, but it's better that it doesn't exist than it still did.
Yeah. So last conversation I want to have with you before we part ways. I'm a black man, you know, and I don't feel too American, you know. I don't think most black men or women feel too American. We don't feel.
I think that's because of the black community, TM.
Welcome here, you know. It has nothing to do with the history of the United States, although it does a little bit. I think just mostly because when it comes to the
Bill Bradley, the question is, at what scale does cohesion start to fall apart? And I mean, it definitely depends on what device or what mechanism by which the things are cohesive, meaning like, you know, with communism, I'm sure that scales up very easily because you don't have to care about individual rights and all that stuff. But, you know, when you do.
Political apparatus, Democrats use us, Republicans want nothing to do with us, right? So we really have no place in this America thing. So that's why when I hear people say America first, to me, it's a white problem. Am I wrong in viewing it like that? I mean,
yes, that's racist. That's the woke way to look at America. Oh, the white people get it good and the black people get it bad. Come on, Dave. Come
To
on,
me,
Dave.
it's
You
a
got
white problem. Am I wrong in viewing it like that?
I mean, if that was true, it would sound like a black problem. But I mean, well, how did that happen?
First, America thing. So that's why when I hear people say America first, to me, it's a white problem. Am I wrong in viewing it like that? I mean, it's our problem because we're under white or European rule.
So you keep convincing yourselves of without any evidence.
So, whatever affects y'all is going to affect us. But I
Right.
feel like this is the white man's war. Am I wrong?
Yes, you feel like that because you've been indoctrinated to think that black people are lesser than. Unfortunately and ironically, probably by older black people in your life, not by white people, not by well, unless they're part of the Democratic Party, but not white people out in society. Nope. Bill Bradley said it is so sad that we struggle to create a sense of in-group for all Americans. Of course, teaching college kids to see America as simply oppressive doesn't help. Yeah, as we can see. And again, that's an aspect of how is this still working? How have we, they were just talking about eventually the propaganda gets old. How are we not there yet? We're getting close, but we're not there yet.
Y'all is going to affect us, but I
Right.
feel like this is the white man's war. Am I wrong in saying that?
Well,
And I could give you more evidence as to why I say
Please
that.
do. Please do.
I mean, it depends on what exactly, like precisely what you mean by this stuff. And so, yeah, I mean, it is true that certainly, obviously, to your point in the history, that black people were not in any way incorporated into the American concept of citizenship or liberty in any sense, really, until at least the 1960s. And as soon as that was given to black people, like, I mean, as soon, like almost like the second that they were like, okay, we're going to end segregation and we're going to end this shit, then just a million policies were put in that just absolutely, like, totally decimated black communities and black culture and black churches and black and whatever. We could go through all of them, whether it's policies like the Great Society and the welfare state and the rise of gun control laws and the rise of drug laws and the rise, just all like one after the other was just a disaster.
White is anything that is I don't know. I was gonna make a joke about passing as white, but if someone doesn't look at, if you okay, here's what you are if you're considered white. If you've been asked less than 50 times in your life, what are you? Then you're white.
That being said, I don't know exactly, like what and in what way, like what percentage of black people would agree with your take on that. I'm sure
Too many. Zibby says black people became true citizens in the 60s, and then social aid came in to help. And then we are at today. That is the story of Black America since the 60s. It's really, I mean, it's really sad. I would love to be able to have somebody who was willing to discuss this with me in an academic or intellectual way, because understandably, people get very upset when I say the black community is the biggest detriment to black Americans. I get it. I get why you would not, if you're black, then you'd be like, hey, yo, whoa, what? But I'm right. And if I'm not, then it should be very easy to articulate why. Bill Bradley said people mock having to say the Pledge of Allegiance, but it's a mechanism to create a sense of cohesion amongst all citizens, at least. Instead, we teach people that they are forever victims. Yep. Never seen Zimbabwe's Air Force. No, I'm not. Yeah, it's sad, man. It's sad. But let's see where he's going with this.
like what percentage of black people would agree with your take on that? I'm sure quite a bit. I think that there are certainly lots of black people who are very incorporated at this point into the United States of America. And so, and even to the highest levels of the war machine, there's been very, like calling
Obama,
helm, Barack Obama. However, these are more or less the exceptions.
Then you're not white. You're not white. I guess that's so much because of how ambiguous my race is. He has white features, but brown skin? What is he? He's not Mexican enough, but he don't look like a tailhead. If you can relate, you're not white.
And not the rule. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
not as if like that's been the majority of the case. But I do think that, I guess I would say, you know, like I'm a libertarian and I am not a politically correct libertarian. I don't believe in some like leftist kind of
There you go. Spit
this
it out.
almost like given that egalitarianism and multiculturalism are goods in and of themselves.
Right.
Like, it's like
I think those things are detrimental to society.
Yep.
Well, and look, I
Especially in America, where there is such a influence of people physically coming from outside of the country. We need that thing. And now I'm as I've been realizing over the last, I don't know, year or so, it's not good enough to just have the American identity. There has to be a story with that. And you know, for religious people, the story that they cling on to is their religious belief. But many of us are not able to do that. We are not able. Trust me, I've tried. Born in the Catholic Church, confirmed in the Methodist Church, and I still try to believe in God, and it does not work. So we need something else that is for all Americans: white, black, female, male, no in between. Unless you're intersex, you know, black, white, all that shit. But Bradley said we live in a world where white people have to feel guilty for being a majority in any nation in which they exist. So stupid, I can't do anything but laugh. That's the only thing to do. I'm thinking, I'll just tell them I'll settle for handsome. That's my pronoun. There you go. There you go. So we said egalitarianism is cooperation and fairness. Yeah, I don't have a problem with egalitarianism. I think equality and egalitarianism go together. But the equality of opportunity is a very different thing than, you know, what they're trying to sell as equity and the equality of outcome. That part I don't know. It's the multiculturalism, the forced diversity, like that kind of thing. It's like, it's okay. It's okay. As I don't know if you can see very well, but I'm a brown man. I'm a first generation American. My parents were not born here. I'm totally fine that this is a majority white country. It is what it is, baby. As long as I have the equal opportunity as everybody else, facts shouldn't hurt anybody's feelings. I mean, yeah. Bill Bradley said in Europe, those poor white people being guilt-tripped are literally the indigenous people in their land. And you're right. You are right, sir. Right Click said, isn't most of the world Asian? We're not even in the majority. Well, there you go. There you go. You goddamn whiteys. You're not even the majority, and you're still oppressing everyone.
How dare you?
Can you just stop? Can you just stop? People are getting hurt. Ryzen said, through the lens of the middle/working class, a question. What's up with minimum wage? It's fucking the middle class. It's the minimum wage is the barrier that is in place to keep people who are low class from getting into the middle or working class. As the famous Dave Smith has said, the minimum wage is not a platform on which poor people stand. It is a barrier which they must overcome.
Understand your position. I believe.
No, let me clarify my position.
No, I'm not.
I believe that people wish to live amongst their own, that they have that's a natural right, and that if people have whatever views they have about other groups of people is also their right. It's their mind, and they're free to think what they want to think, and you ought to be allowed to say things in public about, you know what I mean, that you view. But
yeah, so absolutely, it's a. I mean, did I use the word oppression? No, but it's a barrier. Because, again, to simply put, if my work, or let's say you have a business and my labor is only worth $5 an hour. If the minimum wage is $15, then I don't get to work. And you have to go find somebody who's worth your $15. Whereas if we don't have a minimum wage, and I could say, okay, I just need this, and this done. Pretty simple. I'll pay you $5 an hour. Okay, cool. Now I have an entry into the market. Now I can get experience. Now I can build skills. I can go from there. But if I can't even get into the market, well, I mean, you know, there's EBT, there's SNAP benefits. Why the fuck should I even try? Bill Bradley said, white people are a global minority and shrinking. The way they talk about the white man, we are the biggest badasses the world has ever known. They don't realize saying that we are capable of dominating everyone on this planet is kind of a hype man thing to say. Perhaps they should be more fearful of the white boogeyman. No, it's just downright white supremacy. Buck said, would you rather make more money or that things cost less? I mean, that's the beauty of fiat currency. It don't fucking matter. It don't fucking matter. I want to be able to work X hard to get X to get Y amount of stuff. So if I have to, if I get more money for that labor, then I get to work less. If those things cost less, same thing. Fiat currency. Same, different. But same. Guantek said, fucking white bitches, and there's nothing you can do about it. Another Indian. I think he's short, right? Shortish. But gang. All right, here we go.
Things in public about, you know what I mean, that you view. But regardless, I do think that at the end of your question, you kind of answered it there. And as you said, black people are living in this country. And so if there's...
He's taking a long time to answer this. Is it the white man's problem? No.
A policy that's going to make it much worse, you know, black people are going to suffer the consequences. And you could argue certainly that because of the situation of large portions of the black community in the United States of America, that they suffer worse on average.
Why? Because they're black or because they're poor?
With these problems. I mean, if you want to look at something like, you know, the price inflation of the last few years.
Yeah, that doesn't affect rich black people at all. So what you're talking about, which you know very, very, very well, is a class issue. Maybe he just feels like he can't say that to a black person.
This is kills.
Well, my issue,
working class people.
My issue isn't with the state though, because I expect the state to do state things.
Sure.
Right. Coming back to what you were saying about America before, you don't describe America as the state apparatus, you describe it as a society. And what I see is a society hostile to black people. And this is a great quote from Sam Tripoli, who says,
shout out to Sam and Tripoli.
Black history is white future. Because when things were done against the black community, everybody looked the other way, right?
Black history is the white future.
So when we're dealing with the red whites, I call them red whites. When we're dealing with the red whites, right?
What's the red whites? What the fuck does that mean?
The red whites would say, you're an American. You're black, you're an American. Stop calling yourself black, you're an American.
Oh, like the conservative, right? Okay. Yeah, agreed.
American. You're black, you're an American. Stop calling yourself black, you're an American.
Yeah.
But where were they when Trayvon Martin got shot?
What is that? See, this is the problem. What does Trayvon Martin have to do with any of this? Oh, he's black? So now some stranger who has the same skin color of you is now, what does that have to do with you?
Where were they when Tamir Rice got gunned down? They chose the opposite side.
Who are you talking about? Who chose the opposite side? What are you talking about?
Because of skin color, right? They don't look at us as Americans until it benefits them.
Projection. I would argue that you, the average black man, doesn't consider yourself American unless it's convenient to you. I have never, ever thought somebody was an American on the condition that it helps me. If you are an American, you are an American. That's it. You guys are the ones that think like this. Whether you guys is black people or you guys is Democrats or liberals or wokies or leftists, whatever, it's not the red whites. Well, sure, there's always going to be people like that. But even from my experience, even the red whites who are willing to be like, oh, you know, you're an Indian, then that makes you different this way and that way. They're willing to say it because they don't believe that it has any core thing that supersedes the fact that I am, in fact, an American. This is all happening in your mind.
As Americans, until it benefits them.
And again, real quick, I don't want to say that black people don't have their own personal experiences, and that I understand what it's like to be black, or that there's things that that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying writ large. It's not, oh, the blacks. That's not a thing. You made that up.
Right? So when you say this American society, I go, this society is for white folks.
That's woke and racist, broski. If you said rich black people are not American, he must be a liberal since that's how they think. Or maybe he's on the woke right. That's what we're doing here, right? Also, they see everything through the lens of identity and they assume everyone else does as well. There's that solipsism. This is the way I think. This is the way I see the world. So it must be the way you see the world. I know that I'm talking to somebody else in your chat on your YouTube channel. So you must also know that.
What?
That's not how brains work. Will Bradley goes on to say it shows they are not actually critical thinkers. They cannot even comprehend a different worldview.
Bingo.
Yup. Woke is woke, right or left. Clearly.
This society is for white folks. So when I get this conception of America, but black folks still got to pay taxes, we still got to fight in your wars, I'm like, there's a difference.
Do you though? Because I'm pretty sure that you were not alive the last time we had a draft.
Disconnect on what this American society is, especially built off of immigrant labor, et cetera, et cetera. There's a disconnect on what this American society is. So when we have these conversations,
right? Because you've convinced yourself that there's some difference because of your skin color. I get why. I'm not saying how dare you think that. I'm just saying you're wrong. And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you think of yourself as different, then you will manifest things. You will see things as different. If you shift your mindset, then okay, fine. There's definitely going to be things about the black experience that I can never understand. But I'm willing to give you that space. You just can't take, oh, no, you don't get being black. We have a whole different way of living. We're a different type of people. If that's what you think, bro, I don't think that, but you know what I mean? Self-fulfilling prophecy. Bradley said there's no disconnect for most of us. We know you can be of any color and be an American. Yeah. So in Sparta, 12 years of school meant having to kill people. Okay.
I'm thinking about it from the first person. As a black man, you know, I'm looking at people in alignment with the state, with their actions. Black man get gunned down by the police. Oh, look the other way. And I'm like, oh, so you're in alignment with this.
Dave, please ask him how many times that happens a year. Please ask him how many times that happens a year. Does anybody here not know how low the number is? Everybody, put a number in the chat. How many black people do you think? I think the last year we had post. Well, let's go 2019. How many black unarmed black men were gunned down by police in 2019? Take a guess. Take a guess.
Black man get gunned down by the police. Oh, look the other way. And I'm like, oh, so you're in alignment with the state. You know what I'm saying? And as soon as black people,
yeah. Trayvon Martin, he was the younger one. Yeah. That was the Zimmerman one, right? Yeah. So the state, the system, fucked up. They were trying to oppress the black man, but they fucked up. So Box says 9. Brendan said there's no wrong or correct. Understanding is the answer. Well, I feel real for that one. Well, there you go.
Like, oh, so you're in alignment with the state. You know what I'm saying? And as soon as black people, and then the other thing, there was a big fuss this year. Black pilots. Oh my God, it's a black pilot. He must have got there through DEI, right? This is what we were getting out of some of the woke rights finest, like Charlie Kirk, right? This is some of the woke rights finest. It's supposed to be, you know, some of your greater voices. Now, you know,
so maybe there's this giant coalition of people who think that Trump is the way to go. We don't all agree on everything. We just all agree that Kamala and the Democrats are bad, okay?
The amount that it takes just to buy into a school to become a pilot. If a black man's your pilot, he's probably one of the more trustworthy people to be there, because most niggas don't wake up going, I want to fly airplanes. They say, I want to shoot a basketball, or I want to rap, or I want to dance. This is what we think about. You see what I'm saying? And I'm speaking from personal experience. I wanted to be a rapper. Okay.
Oh, thank you, USA Today. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Uh-oh. So wait, did they start with so fact check. Police killed more unarmed black men in 2019 than conservative activist, singular, claimed. All right, let's see what we got. This is from June 2023. So let's see. The claim. U.S. police killed 8 unarmed black men in 2019. Well, I mean, as far as Charlie Kirk is saying, you're off by 1 box, so pretty good. Let's see. In response, the nationwide Black Lives Matter movement after the death of George Floyd, Charlie Kirk, the founder and president of the conservative group Turning Point USA, posted a statement on Facebook. Kirk claimed that video posted to Facebook during Blackout Tuesday campaign that, according to the database of police shootings, police killed 8 unarmed black men in 2019. Other Facebook pages have reposted this video, adding to its viewership. Well, I mean, 8 seems kind of low. Like, I mean, we have a big problem with this, right? So, and they're already saying it's wrong. So let's continue reading. Kirk uses this figure arguing that systemic racism does not exist within law enforcement. He did not mention that the video that black Americans make up 13% of the population, quote, but are killed by police at more than twice the rate of white Americans, as the Post reported. He also did not mention, as explained by knowing this, I don't know, that when 4.4 million people, 4.4 random stops and frisk were conducted in New York City, Kirk's claim the police killed 8 men is incorrect. Okay, so let's get the number. What is the number? Okay, so it's not 8. Oh, wait. The Post database shows police fatally shot 13, not 8. How dare you, Charlie?
How dare you?
You missed 5 people. You missed 5 people. Now, don't get me wrong. Each one of those people were people. I'm not trying to say it's no big deal that people die. But unarmed black men, or unarmed, also includes going after your gun. Also includes, resisting and things like that. So bring them all in. 13 people. Do we think that's a nationwide problem? Why don't we talk about the black people that are killing black people? Because that happens way more. So if you really care about black kids, black children being killed, then the police would damn near be your best friends. So what the fuck are you talking about? Box of 2015, since 2015, police have fatally shot at least 135 armed black people nationwide since 2015. So in 10 years. So again, 13.5 per year. Yep, sounds about right. Zippy said DEI is nepotism. Government itself is corrupt with nepotism. Yeah, just add some more, right? But Bradley said, okay, so let us see the test scores. DEI is not affecting the merit? Fine, show us the test scores. They could easily prove DEI is not impacting merit by making public all the scores for the written and physical testing in all these industries, but they won't because they know it would show standards were lower. I mean, that's a strong claim, but it's hard to disagree with. Hard to disagree with that. Box said that is not to say they were not acting crazy. Forever self-yeet by blue people is a thing. I think I get what you mean. So again, same quote with 13 a year. What part of this is woke? Like, what are you? I know you're being facetious here, but what makes you think that I'll be like, oh, you're so woke for accurately giving facts? I'm confused. You're terrible. You're terrible. You're a horrible person. You crazy. You crazy. That's just a culture, though. All right. Now we're getting a little, yeah. Fox said, I wish cops could do better. They need more funding, not less. I mean, yeah, I mean, agree. But either way, I think of all the people. So, okay. How many black people were arrested in 2019? So now we're going to have a ratio. How many arrests of this is saying black or African? No, black or African American people. What do you think the number would be? Because if we have it has to be a ratio. We would expect if 13 die, and that's not good, then out of all the arrests, that should be a big portion of the arrests, right? So King's like, yeah, man, there's been 8 arrests and 13 deaths because you can't arrest dead people, right? Not quite. Anybody want to take a guess? Don't look it up. I already got it here. Bill Bradley said, how many contacts were there, not just arrests? Well, we can get there, but the point is clearly made with the arrests. Astonishingly low. I agree. So nobody's going to give me a real answer. All across America, how many black people were arrested in 2019? Of the whole year, how many people were arrested? Okay, we got a 2,000, which is still wildly low. Tens of thousands at least. 2 million people. 2 million people. And as Bill Bradley brought up, that's just the arrests. So there's way more contacts than 2 million. And of every 2 million people, 13 people, unfortunately, die. It's not good that they die, but that is simply not a large percentage. If this is the worst thing happening in our country, this is a great country. It's certainly not the worst thing that's happening in our country, and it is a very bad thing. But that means there's other shit we need to fucking worry about.
We think about. You see what I'm saying? And I'm speaking from personal experience. I wanted to be a rapper, okay? We don't wake up thinking we want to be a pilot. So a black man's a pilot, and they go, oh.
Why is that? Because if you go, hey, friends that I happen to live with, I want to be a pilot when I grow up. Oh, that's gay, yo. You don't know about that's white people shit. Do white people say that about how, like, that's what I'm saying. You're doing this to yourself.
We don't wake up thinking we want to be a pilot. So
start waking up and thinking about being a pilot. It's that simple. Children do it. Are you telling me black people aren't aware of planes? Sounds kind of racist. Sounds kind of like a white supremacist.
Wanted to be a rapper, okay? We don't wake up thinking we want to be a pilot. So a black man's a pilot, and they go, oh, he's a DER hire, which is hostility towards black people. And all we get is hostility towards black people. We get it from Democrats in the form of policies, and we get it from the red whites in the form of their behavior. If you look at social media right now, it's flooded with racist innuendos.
I mean, maybe, but if there is a realistic aspect behind that, and we know, as we've been talking about, the standards have been lowered, then what like, truth hurts, baby. The truth hurts. If you, and your culture pushes you away from doing good things, and then you're not good at doing things, how is that racist?
Sure,
right?
No question.
So, we're
just the black man, all right? And they just keep us down. And we don't think about being better, so we don't be better, and that's white people's fault.
Quick, just to finalize, this American society, if it does not include a coalition with black folks, it can never be strong to topple the state.
Well, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, I think that
I don't. Well, then why don't we have a coalition for brown people? Why don't we have a coalition for olive people? Why don't we have a coalition for short people? Oh, you want me to talk about oppression from immutable characteristics? Oh my God. You have no fucking clue. But I don't sit here and cry about it because you know what? I'm a goddamn American and I can do whatever the fuck I want, even though I'm a tiny itty bitty little dude.
that whether, it's kind of like in some sense, like, whether it's Israel and Palestine or whether it's white and black people in the United States of America, we are all in this thing together right now, whether we like it or not. And
No, the white man's together, but the black man is just being kept down. Shout out to Zippy DFM Lee for another Rumble rant. Thank you, sir. Said DEI and nepotism are an issue, but it's more wholesale incompetence of the system. They are rising not standards, and they are not rising standards and keeping people focused. How they train cops is how they train the rest. We all know the cops definitely have the best training available in any industry.
And we do have a
Well
shared
said,
history. Not to say that means
No. I mean, jump around. But I got you. Well said.
it's a fair history, but it goes back quite a while at this point. And there's almost like no removing that. Like if you're telling the history of the Palestinians, you're talking about the history of the Jews too. And if you're talking about the history of black people in America, well, it's been hundreds of years for the vast majority of them of being here. And so there's almost no way to completely untangle that. I guess
so just deal with it. I'm sorry, but what else? What else would you like anyone to do? Things were bad, okay? And then the state that you hate so much led the world on abolishing slavery. What else do you fucking need? Well, I said there's no blind unity among white people. We've not been marginalized. And so there has never been a need for that kind of racial unity. And that's why I understand why the black community is a thing. But at what point can we be like, all right, so let's talk about this and see if it really is? Because it keeps just getting spun more and more into a separatist thing from America. There's Black America, there's Black Twitter, there's Black YouTube, there's Black Talk. Black Talk. That's a real hashtag. Black Talk. Just scroll on TikTok and there's other people who are black who are doing things. And guess what? There's going to be a bunch of white and Asian and Canadian people that are also doing some stuff that you might find interesting. You have to stop looking at everything through the lens of identity and race. I can't do that for you. That doesn't mean that your life is going to get easier materially when you stop thinking these things. But the mental blocks you put on yourself absolutely will make it easier.
I would just say that I certainly think that there's no question that you're never gonna entirely escape the fact that people are tribal by nature, and the fact that being a minority in a country always to some degree is going to kind of put you up against that. Where, you know what I'm saying? Like yeah.
Now I like what you're saying, Dave Smith. I've got something up against me, bro. Pause. You got something up against me. We all do. That's why we want to create an equal playing field. That's why we want egalitarianism. That's why we want equality. So that no matter who you are and what you do and where you come from and what you're born with, if you do the thing, then you can get somewhere. That is the ideal that we were talking about before all of this fucking bullshit. Oh, Jesus. Bill Bradley. So you want my truly callous take? Who cares? There are 13% of the population, which has remained relatively steady for decades. Why are we bending over backwards at this point? Because it gets votes. That's it. That's it. I would love to be actively part of something where it helped Black people because it helped poor people, and there's more of a percentage of poor people that are Black than or whatever it is. Because people are hurting. But when you focus it on this race thing, then you create lines. And then you're complaining that the lines exist. We got to abolish these lines. You're the one that put them up. Buck said, a lot of people think I'm from Canada for my accent. My accent. Minnesota is just like Canada. But our girls are prettier and we can have guns. There you go. All right. Last clip. Let's just finish this up because I'm moving on to a different thing here.
Put you up against that, where, you know what I'm saying? Like you're particularly in a democracy where majority rules. When you're a minority.
Why are you saying that? Why are you saying that? You're the one who would typically be like, well, actually, we're a republic. Are you pandering to the Black man because he's Black?
Particularly in a democracy where majority rules. When you're a minority, you're by definition starting at a disadvantage.
Only on things that are directly relevant to your skin color.
That being said, I guess I just see like, what is it? You know, we're on this side of heaven. Things are not going to be perfect, but we can try to see like how good can human beings be. And I think that the government at every single angle, and even there, when you're giving, you know, your examples of like the Black experience in America, it always comes down to like what the government is also doing here. And they're just always constantly stoking these divisions, making things so much worse than they would otherwise be.
You buy right into it.
And that's not to say that everything would be perfect, but my God, like it's like
get over it,
that, right? It's like it's because they do this DEI bullshit in the first place that then they give the excuse to these right wingers to say, well, now when I see any Black guy anywhere, I can say, oh, you're just a DEI hire, and so, and you know, and I mean, just the state of like, there's also something where the state of through direct government policies, and I believe intentionally. You know, the government, and I don't mean intentionally at every single level of government, because I don't think that like, I don't think the lady at the welfare office who's telling like the mother of three that like, well, if you kick your man out of the house, I can give you $1,200 a month. But if you have a father in the house, I can't give you that. Like, I'm not saying she's in on some plan, but like at certain levels of government, they certainly were in on some plan. And the government has systematically destroyed the Black family, destroyed the Black community, destroyed Black schools, destroyed Black neighborhoods. And then, which I would really be interested if one day maybe we find out completely what exactly, you know, level of federal intervention there were in things like the Diddy case and shit like that. But
okay, fine. If, and this is not that big of an if, but let's say that Diddy was part of a federal psyop to keep Black people down. Okay. That definitely makes it a lot more difficult for the average Black person to be like, I don't think this is my mindset. Because of course, we're talking about children being indoctrinated by parents, friends, teachers, everything. So you can't, at some level you have to understand that people are just brainwashed. And it's not your fault when you're brainwashed. But if you're brainwashed, then it is your responsibility not to be. It is your responsibility to understand reality. That's not my responsibility for you. Oh, there we go. Oh, am I back? Okay, I'm back. All right. Yeah. So what's this way? We got a lot of shit going on. But Bradley said it pushes away normal people to focus so heavily on such niche issues. Intersectionality is hamstringing them. Exactly.
The push Well, I'm just saying, like, the
You're right.
push
You're
of
right.
like gangster rap and thug culture was just totally intentionally glorified for many, many years by giant, very big companies, many times with government connections. And it was like just, I think, a disaster overall around for everyone. I say this as someone, like, I was a 90s kid and I grew up on hip hop music.
I was just going to bring that up. If we look at the numbers, I would venture a guess that on sheer numbers, more white kids have consumed gangster rap since its inception than black kids. That seems reasonable because there's way more fucking white kids. So even if we say 99% of the 13% of the population all listen to gangster rap, if even 25% of white people listen to gangster rap, that's still more white people listening to gangster rap than black people listening to gangster rap. Yet the issues that exist within gangster rap are black issues. The math ain't mathin'. Why aren't you so oppressed by all of this, Dave? You were 90s and you grew up on hip hop. Maybe it's a little bit bigger than that.
Like, I don't like hate gangster rap. I actually love a lot of it, but I do think that the impact of all of these things was, number one, a rise of a level of criminality in the black community that was really never present in the black community, even through the worst of Jim Crow. The black family was very intact. Black crime rates were much, much lower. And I don't think that's because Jim Crow was so successful and great necessarily, but I do think it's because all these other factors didn't exist. The schools weren't destroyed. The communities weren't destroyed. The family unit wasn't destroyed. The gangster life wasn't, promoted.
There we go. Now we're getting back on track. Well, like I said, I work with black folks. That word, folks. I work with black folks. I would never suggest they were incapable. They are my peers. It's unfair to say we don't care.
Bingo.
Exactly. This, what you were saying is unfair, has been the bedrock of the Democratic Party since its inception. This is the bedrock. They are different. We are better. That is the white supremacy. That is the Democratic Party. That's all it has ever been. And that's what it is today. They're just very, 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 very good at projection. It's that simple, man. It's that fucking simple. All right, let's. I do want to hear what the rest he has to say here, and then we'll head on over.
The unit wasn't destroyed. The gangster life wasn't, promoted.
Mm-hmm.
But then the flip side to that is that it also, I think, led to. It made it much easier for white people to be racist against blacks.
Yup.
Because when you're seeing the imagery of thugs and broken, communities and broken homes and things like this, it becomes much easier to just in your mind kind of be like, yep, that's black people. They're like that. And so I don't know, to what degree.
Did you do this to yourselves?
Like I said, I believe in liberty. I'll listen to old speeches of Malcolm X or something. And I'm not, obviously, I don't agree with Malcolm X. I'm not Muslim and I'm not a black nationalist. But goddamn, I love listening to speeches that guy gave because it's just great. And it's really, it's brilliant and it's interesting and it's controversial. And I get the points he was making. I also get the point that integrationists were making. And I don't know to what level racial harmony will ever be, perfect or anywhere close to perfect.
Right.
But I do think that when I look at this, I just go government intervention is just constantly making things worse. And then on top of that, of course, as you kind of in your what was it? Didn't you do the thing where you trolled Starbucks?
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yes.
Things like that.
Shout out to Nathan Fielder and Dumb Starbucks. That was amazing.
Reparations coffee. Yeah.
But all the thing that you were mocking and making fun of and all of that, it's just how goofy and ridiculous all of these weird things that are divisive and don't even help. They don't even do anything to, I remember.
Yet you still fucking buy into them and act like they are so central to your identity and your ability to live in America. And it's not. And it's the rhetorical mechanism of saying, oh, well, you just don't understand. Is very strong because there's a lot of things I will never understand about being black in America. But I'm not white. And that's close enough to see oh, okay. And I'm short as fuck, and you have no idea what the fuck that is. So we can sit around and play the oppression Olympics. Or we can say we all got shit. Let's just do the best we can. I think it's that simple. But bring it back to the woke right. I gotta agree between Dave and James Lindsay. I have to go with Dave. The wokeness is wokeness. It is identity politics. It is the emotionality. It is the dogmatic adherence to the orthodoxy. All of those things on whatever side of the aisle, on whatever position. We'll finish off here with Bill Bradley. Said we live in literally the most free and egalitarian society to have ever existed. As imperfect as it is, them acting as if this is the worst empire to have ever existed is wild. Ox said, I assume it sucks slightly more than being a poor white. What, being brown? I assume it sucks slightly more than being a poor white. No, I would very, I'm very happy that one of my best friends was literally a trailer park kid. And I would not trade. I mean, you guys know I have issues with my family and all that stuff. But I would trade that for being a poor white kid just to be white. A little bit. Just saying. Well, I mean, he wasn't before, but he is now. All right, Zippy gets the last word. So the drive to protect communities got mixed up with the drive to fight race mixing and integration, protecting the group and overprotecting the person. People lose sight so fast. Well said. Well said. So I think we have our at least base definition of what we mean when we talk about the woke right. Talking about people who are not willing to come to the table with intellectual integrity and the emotional maturity to be able to hear things that maybe don't sound so nice, maybe aren't as politically correct as possible, but also on the other side, not just going with a conclusion because it's fanciful, because it offends people, because it's wild, because it's out there. It goes both ways and is equal and opposite. Let us never say woke again. Big shout out to all of the donations. Guys, thank you so very, very much. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you guys. Look at all this. Look at it. Just look at it. And we got more with Zippy's Rumble rants as well. And no, not yet. I'm getting there. So I got 10 push-ups that I owe you. Hey, shout out to baby Mahara. Welcome. You are just in time for the swoggle. All right, I don't have my music here. Let's get to the jams. And it's time to pay yourselves. So I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. You do whatever you can do. But I'm getting, baby. Thanks, Bradley. Have a good one. Let's go. You got this. Just a little bit. Let's go. 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 1 more good. Let's fucking go! Who pays themselves? I don't know if you guys noticed, but at one point, those who have been here for a bit, at one point, I only wore the t-shirt. And I was like, sorry, I didn't realize the music was still on. At one point, I only wore the t-shirt. And I was like, I'm insecure about my arms. So I put on the long sleeve. Well, actually, I put on the long sleeve because it got cold. And then the summer came around. And I was like, well, let's just hit the AC. Hey, there's a Guam tag with the 20. Coming off the flu. God damn. God damn. Well, shout out to you guys. Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so very, very much. Guys, I know you could be doing anything with your time right now. The fact that you're here hanging out with me and the Overlord, the fact that you came through and got our goal, I promise you, I will post pictures because as soon as we go upstairs, he's going to destroy that. And when he's happy, I'm happy. So thank you so very, very much, guys. Again, if you are not a member, please join up. It's $2.99 a month. And of course, that's 12 after parties. We're watching Severance. We're watching fucking, what did we just say we were gonna watch? Oh, Hillbilly Elegy, all that good stuff. It's $2.99 a month, guys. Let's have a cup of coffee, 12 after parties and more. But even if you don't want to, again, it is free to join. Click the link in the pinned thingy and come hang out with us. Thank you, guys. Once again, this is Morty, and I have been your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of Common Sense. Until next time, guys, we are out of here. Peace.